disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing.
Lomito!
Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Welcome everybody to Unbiased Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's your good friend Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we've got a fantastic one for you. We got a lot of things to cover here from last night, so let's get right down to them. Well, actually, no, let's not get right down to them. Sorry about that. We got to get the business out of the way. You guys know the drill. Please don't forget to hit the like. It really helps us out. I'll be reminding people throughout the night, because it really helps us out with the algorithm. Subscribe if you've yet to do so. Don't forget you can check us out on iTunes, Spotify, and Spreaker at your leisure. And you're welcome to donate a couple of shekels our way via the Super Chat feature. You'd be contributing to the cause. There is a crusade that's about to start. No, but it really does help us out with the upkeep, so we always appreciate that. But like I said, the most important thing is you continue to like, subscribe, and to spread that BDA gospel, all right, fellas? Speaking of the apostles spreading the good news, let's give a shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Alfredo Contreras, JDA, that's Joe in the chat, Mars, J. Perez, Premier League Kings, Lobito in the house. Shout out to Gonzalo in there as well. Who else we got? We got Knockout Ned, we got Nerd, we got Rafael Garza. Shout out to Rafael. Shout out to El Pachuco. Shout out to Sergeant. And many more people. Shazar in there as well. Shout out to Shazar, Grim Reaper. How many more people to come? I'm sure, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. All right, now let's start cooking with a little hot grease here, as it were. Let's turn the stove on, because there was a lot going on yesterday, on Saturday. A lot of things going on, and I think we got to get down to that. There's also a lot of happenings, a lot of moving in the social sphere, that social media, and very excited to see what happens with some of the things that, there's a lot of talking. As usual, there's a lot of jawing and yapping going on. So we're going to talk about that plus more. All right, so let's get down to it here. I see we've got Gonzalo jumping in. Gonzalo, you there?
Whoa! What's up, Mr. BDA?
Oh, what's going on, Gonzalo? Good to hear from you here.
Oh!
There you go. All right,
Yeah,
let's start.
you remind me of Sergeant Medina. There used to be this guy in the army. He would go kind of like how you do. He'd go, ew.
Oh.
I was like, is he related to Sergeant Medina?
No!
It was a cool dude.
There you go, man. Shout out to Sergeant Medina. Hopefully he's doing fantastic as well. Gonzalo, let's get off. Let's start with the British card that took place. Well, actually, it wasn't a British card. It was in Monte Carlo, I believe. But it was British in nature. Eddie Hearn was promoting it. Joe Cordina surmounts a tough challenge against Edward Vasquez. He scrapes by with two scores of 116-112. One dissenting judge scored at 114-114. Nevertheless, Cordina remains undefeated with a record of 17-0, 9 knockouts. But I got to tell you, Gonzalo, it wasn't an easy round. It was a little bumpy road. How did you see the fight?
I didn't score it, but I was entertained. It was a good scrap. The smaller Texan put up a fight, and first of all, well, the fight was good. I thought it was close. I didn't have a problem with the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see how, like, since I didn't score it, somebody could have it a draw or even have the Texan winning.
Oh,
Now I would have to say this about what's his name, the A side, the Welsh dude. I forget his name.
Cordina.
Cordina, yes. He's a little bit overrated. I just have to say that he doesn't have the punching power that maybe some of us thought he had, and it just goes to show how you can easily look good against a different opponent when you get the knockout. And I know, like, he knocked out this Japanese
Right.
to make an example, but not all Japanese, just like Mexicans. Not all Japanese or Mexicans are tough. I mean, sometimes we think to ourselves, "Oh, he's a Japanese. He must be good. You know, he must have like an iron chin for the division." But that's not always the case, and that just leads me to believe that the guy's power is a little bit overrated. Yes, he got good skills, but he was there against a wily, crafty Fox and the Texan and Vasquez, and it kind of showed the level that he really belongs, right? And he said it himself. I like how the dude was making fun of Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. I mean, I give credit to Vasquez for that because when Cordina, you're right though. Cordina, you look at his record and you go, he doesn't hit that hard. But it was really the Ogawa win. I believe it was last year where he knocked him out with a vicious right hand, and not for nothing, but he did drop Rakimov with a left with a swivel hook. So evidently the guy can crack. That's why I'm he's not Deontay Wilder. He's not going to drop you with just one punch, although he's shown in certain spots, which is why I give Vasquez the credit, because his defense was on point. I mean, and he did get stunned early when he was still adapted to the speed. He stumbled a little bit there, I believe, in the third round. But then thereafter, he never again got visibly hurt. It seemed like maybe some of the body shots got to him, but he kept on plugging away. I liked Vasquez. Well, before I get to Vasquez, I want to give Cordina his credit because he did win. He's a Welshman that goes to the body. He's got the eclectic mix of speed, power. He seems to have that competitive spirit in him that he wants to go for it. But unfortunately, his style is still very much Olympic style. 1-2, and then move, 1-2. Everything's the same speed, very little feints, or very few feints, I should say. So those are, I think, his limitations. Whereas Vasquez, now correct me if I'm wrong, Gonzalo, but I was hearing about Vasquez. I didn't know much about him other than some of what you guys had said beforehand. The book on him is that people felt that he would be robbed in a previous fight, right? Last year?
I think so. It was a split decision loss to Raymond Ford, the prospect.
I gotta watch that fight. I'm very interested now after seeing Vasquez giving Cordina hell. You know what was interesting about Vasquez, Gonzalo, is very, very, like you said, a fox, very wily. He would mix in punches, throw away shots, and then with the third or fourth, he would always connect. Just classic what you're supposed to be working on the mitts too. Yeah, you want to punch, practice power too, but you also want to vary the speed, and that's what he was doing. A couple of throwaway shots, and then the last one always hard, and boom, he would land. He knew where Cordina was going to be. He was setting him up with those throwaway shots and said, whoa, this guy's got some high-level boxing going on. It's just unfortunately for him, he just can't seem to crack all that much. But yeah, with the scorecards, I concur with you. I didn't have too much of a problem. I do feel like Cordina was landing the harder shots. They didn't show the punch stats, by the way. Or if they did, I failed to see them. Let me look them up here. Because usually that can tell you sometimes what's going on or give you an indication of what happened. According to the punch stats here that I'm looking at, it says that Cordina threw 527 shots, landed 170. Vasquez threw 568, landed 164. Now, again, I'd like to see how that was spread out throughout the fight. But nevertheless, if you just go by those CompuBox numbers for punch stats, it does seem like it was a highly competitive affair, and Cordina slips away with a majority decision. Now, Gonzalo, the big thing is they're talking about Cordina versus, what's his name, Lee Wood, because that's a fight that would sell over there in the UK. How do you see that going, and do you think Wood has a chance?
I would say so. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Prior to Lara, how would you characterize Lee Wood's style? Is he sort of a pressure fighter?
Well, I mean, he was a pressure fighter against, what's his name, the Irish dude. Fuck, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Anyway, he'll come back. He'll come back to me. But
Michael Conlon.
Michael Conlon, thank you. But when he fought Lara, he had to box. He had no choice. And then when he fought Warrington, he was boxing too. But the thing is, it wasn't working for him when he fought Warrington. So I would characterize him as a boxer puncher. A little bit more emphasis on the punching power because that's what's bailing him out lately.
I think, as I mentioned in the telecast, and I remember because Enrique Tinoco is an acquaintance of mine that trains under some people that I know back in Tijuana. He gave him trouble. Now, Enrique Tinoco is a contender who's got some losses, but, he's the tough guy that puts a lot of pressure. And he gave Cordina a run for his money. Now, what's worrisome, rather, what you mentioned is like, if you can come in on Cordina and land a few shots, but like make your second or third, and why not your fourth shot, like, the actual, like, your Sunday punch, and in this process of rinse and repeat, like where he's constantly getting hit by the last punch, continues to happen. It means that, yes, probably a pressure fighter with a little bit more pop is finally gonna like get him with not the first, but maybe like the second and third punch. So can he get his head out of the way where he can defend himself? That's the thing.
Well, that's the thing. You mentioned, he's overrated. I don't know who's overrating him because from what I see some skills, I see power, but I don't see this dude as being unbeatable. I mean, Rakimov, who's a very good fighter, don't get me wrong, he was teeing off on him at certain points in the fight. And Vasquez, too, was doing it last night. So you're right. Somebody that's got comparable power or some, what's the word I'm looking for here? Some evident physical talent is probably going to take this dude out. Because, again, you can't take that. Imagine he fights a guy like Navarrete. And, I'm not saying a Navarrete fight would be easy. I don't think Navarrete would have an easy time with the guy because, again, Cordina has good hand-eye coordination, good power, good hand speed. But he's there to be hit with combos. It seems like he can't put two and two together. It's either sometimes he'll counter well or other times he'll get pieced up with combos. And he's inconsistent with the defense is the way I'd put it.
Yeah, I would agree. Sometimes he leads. In this fight, he was leading, but he was getting pieced up towards the tail end of the round. So, I mean, and sometimes he can counter, like set his own traps like he did against the Japanese dude. But like you said, he probably can't. He hasn't shown that he can lead and counter and mix the two things together.
Now, before that's what I'm saying. That's the difference between a high-level boxer and a guy that's going to remain a contender. It's interesting, Gonzalo. They were talking about potentially Oshaki Foster fight between Cordina. How would you see that one going?
Oshaki Foster? Jesus. I think Oshaki Foster is probably better, to tell you the truth. And he proved to have a chin versus Rocky Hernandez, because Rocky Hernandez can crack. And he took a lot of punches. I don't know how much damage, to what extent, but he was able to defend himself well and survive, then come on strong to the end of that fight. And against Cordina, you got to say that he's probably going to be able to take his power if he took Hernandez's. It's not so much that I'm doing triangle theory, but I'm just going to say that, Oshaki Foster, he have a chin. But then you got to also add that he's fast. Right, he's fast. So, in my opinion, he probably would outbox Cordina. In my opinion,
probably, yeah. I mean, Cordina is not as aggressive as Hernandez, but he's a better boxer. I'll say, he's got faster hands. Oshaki Foster seems to be very uneven. as well. I've been making the rounds on Twitter, Gonzalo, and a lot of people comment on the scorecards and they say, "Oh, Shaki was going to get robbed." I'm thinking that fight. I thought he was getting outworked in that fight. I didn't see this high. Even when he fought Ray Vargas, it was a Tyson Fury, Vladimir Klitschko type performance where neither guy was really doing that much. It's just O'Shaquie Foster was doing a little bit more. But I don't see this master boxer that people are talking about. Don't get me wrong. He's tricky, like you said, the movement, the hand speed. But he's there to be beat as well. So I would have that as a 50-50 fight. But you mentioned O'Shaquie Foster. You'd give him the edge. And I would concur because I don't know if O'Shaquie Foster gets on the back foot, I don't know if Cordina has the tools to pressure him effectively. So we shall see what happens.
It's like Vasquez probably got. I don't think he's been knocked out. I mean, he did only lose once against Raymond Ford via split decision. So he hasn't gotten knocked out. And he looks like a tough dude who can take a punch. But he was evidently the smaller guy. He looked like a 126-pounder in there. Right? Versus the bigger Cordina. Yeah. Now, the way O'Shaquie was looking against Hernandez, all of a sudden, dude, the dude to me, like, when Hernandez was getting tired, I could see, like, Foster looking, like, big all of a sudden. It's like, I don't know. Like, he got strong, Hernandez got weak, and I could actually appreciate Foster's size for that division. So that has to be one thing to consider, the size. He's definitely bigger than Vasquez.
Absolutely. And by the way, Vasquez, the reason why he looked smaller against Cordina probably has to do with the fact that he's actually a featherweight. I'm looking here that his last fight against Brian, it's not even B-R-Y, it's B-R-A-Y. Anyway, it was a featherweight bout, his last fight, which was in July of this year. So this is a guy that moved up and was able to give Cordina trouble by virtue of his stamina, his throwaway shots, his intelligence, and very good defense, I might add. But one last note on Edward Vasquez, by the way. He had a lot to say, like Gonzalo mentioned. He immediately after the fight in the ring, he started saying that he got robbed. He was laughing at how egregious he felt the decision had been. And he even called out Eddie Hearn in the ring. He said, Daddy Hearn was here to save him. He always does. And then I found this picture here. This is Edward Vasquez. He's got his shirt off, so I can only assume this was after the bout. And he's flipping Cordina's face off there in a poster. Now, look, Gonzalo, there's a saying out there that goes, "Show me a good loser, and I'll show you a loser." You know how some people say, "Oh, he's a sore loser," blah blah blah, and some people actually say, "Well, you should be sore. That means you're a competitor." But this type of behavior, I mean, what do you think? I mean, it's one thing to say, "I felt I won the fight." It's another, emotions are running high. I understand, but what do you think about this type of behavior here? I mean, this is bordering on a psychopathic here. He's flipping off a poster. I mean, does he really think that? What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, probably. I mean, if he did think in his heart of hearts that he did beat him, it was close to where he's got to be honest to himself. I don't know why he's so pissed off. In my opinion, I don't have no problem with Cordina winning because he was the more busy guy, and towards like the latter rounds, especially the 12th, he did pick it up. Now, like you mentioned, Vasquez was landing the second and third punch. And he was like being like after Cordina was done throwing, he was like picking it up towards the tail end of the round and maybe winning like the last 30 seconds of each round. But Cordina was more active during the whole 3 minutes, really, to be honest.
Yeah, you know what? This is one of those fights, Gonzalo. I'm willing to make the effort to rewatch it as soon as possible and actually score it. Because, Cordina was landing the harder shots. And there were times where Vasquez was running around, catching his breath a little bit. Because he did, again, a featherweight pushing back a guy who can crack. That takes a lot of energy too. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that one. We're going to move on here to another subject. In the undercard, again, this bout took place in Monte Carlo. So that's why it looked very high class is what I want to say. The chandeliers and stuff like the golden posts all over the place. It was high class. Adrian Curiel, a flyweight type. No, excuse me, junior flyweight. What's that division again? The junior flyweight. Yeah, 108 pounds. Junior flyweight. It was a junior flyweight bout.
Yeah.
And what's his name again? This dude, Curdi El Gatito. El gatito, that means a kitten. Adrian Curiel, he scores a one-punch knockout against Sivenetti Nontechinga, which sounded a little bit too more like Nochingas. But anyway, Nonchinga, he knocked him out. Curiel scored a stoppage in the second round. This dude couldn't crack, at least looking at his record. And they asked Curiel, where did this come from? He goes, well, I've been fighting out of my depth sometimes in the wrong division, so that's why he claims now he can crack, even though his knockout percentage is the amount of knockouts he has is in the single digits, by the way. But Gonzalo, what do you make of this? I didn't even know who these guys were, to tell you the truth. Wasn't all that familiar with them, but apparently Nochingas was a rated number 2 in the division.
Yeah, that's impressive. I had never seen a fight. I heard of the last name or another Curiel, but okay, this Curiel last night. I mean, yeah, he was impressive. The knockout, I think in 20-something fights, he only had 4 knockouts. And he was the one pressuring, and the bigger guy for the division was the one backpedaling. And obviously, I mean, I understand that's maybe his fighting style. He was trying to run Curiel into something, and he was, throwing these long straight punches, and he was boxing pretty good. And the announcers were like they were really speaking well about him, like talking him up, like, oh, this guy, he's got 9 knockouts in 12 fights, but maybe like in his last 3, he hasn't gotten the knockout, but still, he's a power puncher, and we're about to see something great. And all of a sudden, Curiel drops the overhand right, like clips him right on the chin. And it was like, wow, dude. And the announcers, once in a lifetime punch. I kind of don't agree with that. It's like, how do you know, man? The dude is the one pressuring. He landed a punch. Maybe he feels comfortable in this division now, and he could probably do that again moving forward. So it's like these guys, it's almost like they were doing damage control because they were speaking too highly of the African, the guy that got knocked out prior to the knockout. Then when he got dropped, oh, it must be like a once in a lifetime performance. But yeah, I get it, because they're always like looking at the records. Even like maybe us too, we could never like imagine that a guy with 4 knockouts in 20-something fights who has lost every time he stepped up could land such a punch, especially in the smaller divisions, where it's very rare that you get these type of one-punch knockouts.
Exactly, Gonzalo. And you know what's interesting about that? That's why it's always important to watch the actual fights. You can always, say, oh, look at the record, be a boxer warrior, and then you get the fights completely wrong. I'll tell you what's interesting about Curiel. I'm going to put it up on the screen here. El Gatito is only 24 years old, and yet he started his career 7 years ago. So it's a classic case of what we've talked about before, Gonzalo. These Mexicans, they fight over there in Mexico. The records aren't stellar, but they're fighting tough guys. They take a couple of losses early on in their career when they're teenagers. So then by the time they're 24, they're already somewhat grizzled and seasoned as veterans. So I think that's essentially what happened with Curiel. You look at his record and you go, he's got losses, blah, blah, blah. But when you take a look at a guy like him, 24 years of age, and he's already got this type of record, chances are he survived in a hellhole, which is, the Mexican boxing scene. They don't coddle you over there necessarily. So if you can make it out of there and fight abroad, that usually means you're somewhat good. And that's what happened with Curiel.
Yeah, and I was impressed. Did you see how he kind of was like standing over Nochingas when he knocked him out? Yeah. He has that mean streak. Like he was like flexing. I was like, damn, dude, now that you mentioned his last name is his nickname is El Gatito. He's kind of like the kid from He-Man, remember? The one that seems like kind of like sheepish and all of a sudden like, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. You brought up the fact that he seemed unsurprised that he scored that type of knockout. It's evidently, I think he's settled in now, and because he was also fighting like a puncher. He was pressing, like you said, the action, picking shots off with his guard. This guy was unsurprised that he'd managed to score that devastating knockout. So I think he'd been working on that.
Yeah, the beast certainly came out of him last night.
That's right. Yeah, he turned into a tiger. Yeah, he turned into a panther last night, or last evening rather. So now they're talking about him versus the Marvel, Kenshiro Teraji. And I got to tell you, just based off what I saw last night from Curiel, I don't know if I'd pick him against Kenshiro Teraji, but like I said, he showed a very good guard, picking off shots while walking forward. And that's something that a lot of guys have failed to effectively do against Kenshiro Teraji. So we'll be on the lookout for that one. They're talking about maybe making it next February. Next year, rather, early next year. And this is interesting because if you look at the ratings here for Junior Fly, you got Kenshiro Taraji, Ring Magazine has him as the champ. Jonathan La Bomba Gonzalez was supposed to fight 2 weeks ago, I believe, on an ESPN card, and he pulled out again. I think the second fight in a row that he's pulled out. Nochingas, he's already been bested here. Heikki Butler already lost to Taraji earlier this year, so, I mean, it seems like the evident match to make. So we'll see what happens there. Moving on here to another bout, we go on to the ESPN card, and we got Efe Ajagba in the heavyweight now. We go from junior flyweights to the big leagues, or the big guys. Ajagba stopping Joe Goodall in the 4th round and improves to 19-1 with 14 knockouts. Gonzalo, I gotta tell you, this Goodall guy, he pulled off an upset in his last fight, but it just his defense was non-existent. First, I want to talk to you about the stoppage. Did you agree with the stoppage?
Let me see if I recall. I can't quite picture it. I did see it, but I just can't quite imagine it in my mind right now. I forgot.
Well, let me comment on it then. He wobbled him a little bit. He had him hurt. No, not a little bit. He had him hurt. But, the referee essentially stepped in before the guy could actually get dropped. I mean, I understand a lot of these guys go, well, the referee says, I don't want to see, I know this guy's about to get hurt. Well, guess what? If you ask the Australian dude, hey, you want to let the fight continue? He probably would have said, yeah. I didn't hear his post-fight comments. I don't know if he made any. But, okay, you wobble, your legs are, you're on unsteady legs. Let the guy drop you. Let the guy get dropped. I mean, seldom do people get killed or seriously hurt by one punch. Yeah, I understand one punch can make the difference if the guy's already out and laying on the ropes and he gets stuck. Freak accident like Emil Griffin versus the Cuban, Billy, the kid Paret. But usually that's not what happens. So, I'm pretty sure Ajagba was going to stop him. I don't think the other guy was going to come back, but you just never know. Let the guy get dropped. It's a rough sport. It's a violent sport, but that's what boxing is. Because we're going to get to another early stoppage later on. But yeah, man, I just had an issue with the stoppage. It's turning into a pussy sport. Let's just say it that way. It's turning into maybe I moved it. Yeah, it's a pussy.
You said pussy, and I was thinking it was anticlimactic. Now I remember, and I was wondering, do they get the word anticlimactic from like not reaching your climax? It's like something like he's doing well. It's on the verge of like what the word means as far as like a woman drinking coming. In other words, but then all of a sudden, it didn't reach that point. Anticlimactic. No, that must be something else. But anyhow.
Yeah, these guys, I don't know. Maybe I'm look, I don't think I'm different. I don't think I'm special in wanting to see guys getting flattened. That's what we all want to see. And that's what, if you ask, like I said, if you ask most active fighters, hey, would you rather the fight be stopped too soon or too early? They'll tell you. I mean, too soon or too late. They will tell you, I'd rather it get stopped too late. Give me the chance to try to pull it out of the bag or to pull something out of the bag. I don't know. Or maybe I am the nut job.
I'm moving different.
Hey, listen, it is what it is. But, all right, so, okay, that's what it was. But still, I give Ajagba credit for making it look easy. He got caught with a couple of shots, but hey, it's the heavyweight division. There's no perfect fighter out there. But Gonzalo, Timothy Bradley.
Hey, there's instances too, BD, very rarely that I know you showed me one time, like you shared to me a link about this video when it's called Le Volteó la Tortilla, or he flipped the script on him in English. Where the fucking dude is, he gets knocked out, almost knocked out, but he gets knocked down and gets up and knocks the other dude out like that, just like that.
Yes, first of all, that's one of my favorite videos. It's from a Nicaraguan show. I think The Zone would do more segments like that too. I mean, they got the budget, I think. Why not pull something like that together? Be that as it may, what was I going to say about that? Hold on a second. The connection seems to be giving me trouble here. Yeah, that's that. You're right, man. Give the guy a chance to flip the script and to turn the tables around. Don't stop the fight too soon. But I don't know. I guess nowadays they're afraid of getting sued. I remember that happened about 10 years ago. I think it was the Cuban heavyweight put a Eastern European in the hospital, and the family sued. And then we had Dadashev, Subriel Matias killing Dadashev, and that was on the ESPN airwaves, I believe. So these guys are getting. But look, listen, I'm not paying to watch guys get protected and walk away healthy. As vicious as it may sound, but it is what it is. I want to see guys get hurt in there, not permanently hurt, but if that's what happens, that's the risk of it, man. You want to get paid the big bucks, like in Scarface. You want to make the big bucks. Hey, you know what you signed up for, and nobody's forcing you to fight and step into the ring. But Gonzalo, Bradley was singing Ajagba's praises. And he's like, I'm telling you, after the fight ended, he's like, I'm telling you guys, this guy's the real deal. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. When he fought Shaw, the guy that this Australian dude ended up upsetting in his last fight, Ajagba didn't look all that impressive. He also already got beat by Frank Sanchez. So it seems like there's a red and blue state type of thing going on here. Ajagba looks great against guys that will stand in front of him, like this Australian dude who had virtually no defense. And then he will look mediocre when guys that can move. But I understand Bradley's point. He didn't really articulate it this way, but I'll say it. There just aren't that many movers in the heavyweight division. So what do you think, Gonzalo? What are Ajagba's chances in this current climate in the heavyweight division?
He's got a couple things going for him. He's a strong dude. I believe they say he's like 6'6" or 6'7". Mm-hmm. So he's freaking tall, and he's got long ass arms. Probably, I heard them say somewhere that his arms are just as long as Tyson Fury's.
Whoa! Right.
So what goes against and he's powerful. He's powerful. He's got heavy hands, and I see him putting his hands up in the high guard. So he's got that going for him, as opposed to maybe like he's not that fast. And why move? Like if you are gonna move, then probably you're gonna be slow at doing that. And probably you're going to get pieced up in the process. Well, maybe the thing to recommend there is maybe the way he's fighting. Like, with your hands held high, with the high guard. Try to protect yourself from some of them heavyweight punches as much as you can in order to land your shot. Because you're not necessarily the fastest either. So that's one thing, right? If you're going to throw and you're going to leave yourself open, then getting countered over the top or like somewhere through the middle because you're not protecting yourself well because you're leaving openings, then that's not going to fare well against you, against other big punchers that are heavyweights. So, all right, he throws good straight punches, not fast, but then he's got those hands held high, and he's learning on the job. He's getting better. So it's going to be one of those things where he's got to try to use timing rather than speed in order to land his heavy shots. Behind that high guard, and maybe not try to slip, like I said, them punches, because slipping out of the way is just going to leave you vulnerable to get hit because you're going to probably be slower to reset yourself.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion,
that brings up a good point here about because I'm bringing up the fact that, or the question rather, of how he can do in the heavyweight division, and there's a lot of lummoxes in this division, a lot of behemoths. Leviathans, and by virtue of that, there's not that many movers. I mean, I'm going to throw a couple of names out at you here, Gonzalo. I'm going to put up the Ring Magazine heavyweight rankings. You got Tyson Fury, who lost a lot of luster after his non-performance against a novice MMA fighter. Deontay Wilder is about to be 38, I believe, and he hasn't fought in over a year. Lord knows what's going to happen with him. Anthony Joshua, I still think perhaps the best heavyweight next to Alexander Usyk. Zhilei Zhang is an old man. Joseph Parker, they're still trying to sell this guy Gonzalo as, well, if he could just put it together, if he could just he can't put it together. Filip Hrgovic, he sort of got embarrassed a little bit by Zhang, and we haven't seen him, we haven't seen the usual suspects prop him up as much as they used to. Jared Anderson, a young heavyweight, quick hands, one of the exceptions. Joy Joyce, another Lomax. Frank Sanchez already beat Ajagba, and Otto Wallin. Let me throw that name at you there, Gonzalo. Otto Wallin versus Ajagba. How would you see that one going?
Otto Wallin's more the boxer, right?
Right.
I've seen some of the highlights between him and the dude that moved up from Cruiser. Can't recall his name. Kind of looks like Rocky Marciano.
You talking about Gassiev? In his last fight, you talk about Gassiev?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, versus Gassiev. he eked that fight out right on the scorecards. That was competitive back and forth. You could probably say that Ajagba was more powerful than Gassiev because he's just bigger. So that would provide that would be a problem for Otto Wallin. But Otto Wallin got the skills, and he's also a big dude.
Yeah.
I think not that I'm playing triangle theory so much. I'm just saying that okay, Gassiev is a smaller dude, he can't crack, but Ajagba is a bigger dude who probably hit harder than Gassiev. And I just think that would be a tough test for both guys. And that's pretty much to me slightly in favor of Otto Wallin. But Ajagba got a chance though.
That's what gets to me about this whole Ajagba thing, Giselle, because after the fight, I don't know if you saw it, but they're in the ring, and then Mark Kriegel goes up to Ajagba, and Ajagba, Nigeria, I beat everybody. And then they're talking with his trainers. One of the trainers, by the way, looks like Herb Dean, the UFC referee. I actually thought that was him. I said, oh, this guy's training boxers now. What's going on? Apparently it wasn't him. And I'm not saying all Afro-Anglos look alike, but goddamn, those guys look like twins. Anyway, the point is, they're talking to the trainers, and like, what was the difference in this fight? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, wait, I mean, come on, guys. I know this is ESPN. They got to hype up their product, which is their fighters, or Top Rank as well. But they're making it out to be as if this guy beat a top 10 guy and as if he'd made some big improvement. Like I said, he beat a guy who pulled off an upset against a heavyweight Shaw in the last fight that just wasn't really that big either, or that great. So I don't know why they're overhyping him. But yeah, Otto Wallin, I would pick him to beat Ajagba. And it would probably be boring and non-eventful or as anticlimactic, as Gonzalo mentioned. But look, Ajagba is an interesting fighter, and I want to see him fight. I don't care if his skills are world-class or if he's got the highest IQ. He is entertaining. He tries to go for the knockout. He's a flawed fighter. But hey, perfection's for losers. Gonzalo, here's the other thing. They kept bringing up Zhilei Zhang to him. How about Zhang? And fucking Ajagba didn't understand what they were asking him. I think he thought they were suggesting some sort of Chinese dish to him for the after party. But one name that they weren't throwing at him was Jared Anderson, the undefeated heavyweight, who they called him the next, not in this telecast, but in other telecasts, they've referred to him as the next great heavyweight. But now they didn't bring him up as a potential Ajagba opponent. What's going on, Gonzalo? Is in Ajagba? Are they finally decided that they're not going to put Anderson in there with Ajagba?
Who knows? Jared Anderson, he's got some good qualities, but he's still a work in process. He makes a lot of mistakes, like getting caught with the left hand by Charles Martin. So he's got his own issues to correct. But Ajagba, he's powerful. Against any of these guys, he's going to drop bombs. He carries power. So that'll be a problem for Anderson. But the thing that why Ajagba looks so good, I think, is because that Goodall guy, it was just too slow as well, and his punches were wide. So the difference between looking great in one fight versus one opponent and not looking so good like prior is that the difference in speed. If you can get there with your punches, a hair quick trigger, than your previous opponent or than the person you're facing in the ring on that night. And if you land first, you probably land last if it's a good punch. You knock the other dude out.
That's right.
It's just like a little difference in speed makes the whole difference in the world, whether you win or lose. Obviously, whether you get there with the punch versus your opponent, not getting there with his. So that's why he looks so good against Goodall, because Goodall wide, slow punches, and Ajagba was arriving at the target quicker. But with against other challengers like Anderson, I mean, Anderson's going to be quicker, and Anderson does throw straight shots down the middle. Obviously, he gets countered and hit back too, and he doesn't fare well with encounters, especially from the opposite stance, like from Charles Martin. I think he would just have a lot of problems with like King Kong Ortiz, but against Ajagba, I think Ajagba's tough, but he's a slow guy. So they can get at him too. He's there to be beat.
Absolutely. Ajagba, whenever he's fought movers, he requires to be set to punch. That's when he becomes hesitant. But put him up against guys who aren't going to move, he's going to have a shot by virtue of his power. So that's why I say in this heavyweight division, yeah, he's going to be a problem because he's fighting fellow slow guys, Lomaxes. The worst style you can put him into, like I said, is Wallin, Usyk. Forget about it. I mean, he's got a one-punch knockout shot, but it's a heavyweight division. Who doesn't? So those are the we'll see what happens. Again, they're not putting Anderson in there anymore with him. I think they realize what type of guy Anderson is. He still needs a little more seasoning. So it'll be a long time before we see that bout, I believe. Let's give a big shout out to...
I think he avoided the whole silly Zhang topic. I think he avoided that question. In my opinion, me no speak English because Silly Zhang is real fast. With that straight left, man, you had him on the show that you did. As some of the, I was listening and I was thinking to myself, man, that straight left, it's just like down the middle, man. He knows how to throw it like straight down the pipe, and it's quick too. And his right hook isn't bad either. When they asked him, and I agree. So Zhang Zhang, man, I think he's the truth. Plus, he's big. He's big as well.
Yeah, that's one of the advantages that he's got going there for him. I want to give a shout out to Surser for his contribution to the super chat. He says, "BDA, what's your favorite Mexican cryptid?" And forgive me if I don't read the last part there, Surser. You know my stance on that. But he says, "What's your favorite Mexican cryptid?" Believe it or not, it's not the chupacabras. It's not the La Llorona. Which I guess you could consider it a cryptid because it's a paranormal entity. The one that I've been interested in since I've been looking into this Bigfoot thing for the last 10 years now is the Mexican Bigfoot, El Sisimite. Now, it's also been seen in Nicaragua and Honduras, so it's not native to Mexico or exclusive to Mexico. But look into this motherfucker. Terrorizes people. He's strong. He's got 4 fingers, and a lot of people have seen it. So I think there's something to the existence of undiscovered ape. And you know what? You don't even got to go that far for this type of apes. Just look at in Indonesia. There's one, that name escapes me, but I did a video on that for the Second Renaissance, and it's even mainstream academics are almost certain that it exists based on the evidence that's out there. But it's this little, like half orangutan, half chimpanzee in Indonesia, and people are pretty sure they're going to eventually prove that it exists because they've got a lot of evidence, hair samples, fecal samples, testimony of this little fucker running around. He just seems to be smarter than the average ape. And it camouflages itself very well in Indonesia over there. But anyway, this ain't National Geographic. We'll talk about that in another show. Let's move on here to another one of the things we got to talk about here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. I forgot about that. Let me check here. And we're going to be opening up the phone line soon, by the way, in a couple of minutes. We're at 49 likes. Unacceptable, fellas. Unacceptable. Let's get it to 100 likes, all right? Right now. Doesn't take much. Just get us to 100. Everything will be cool afterwards. Now, let's get to another oh yeah, okay, so in the same ESPN card, Raymond Murataya stops Diego Torres, a fellow undefeated fighter, in round 8 and improves to a record of 19-0 with 16 stoppages. Pristine, clean record right there for Raymond Murataya. Again, though. Oh, we got Jimmy jumping in here as well. All right, fantastic. We got 2 people. Guys, what did you think of that performance from Murataya? And I also want to talk about the stoppage, if you could chime in on that one.
Yeah, I was really impressed. Somebody said, no, I didn't pick, not like it matters, but I don't think I picked El Azabache Torres. I was rooting for him. But then again, there's not a lot of evidence on Azabache. He's coming from Mexico, kind of like El Pollito Aguilar. A lot of knockouts, a perfect record, but once he gets across over to the United States and gets put in against a top contender like Murataya, I mean, it's a different story. So I was waiting to see. I was rooting for him, but I was also like wondering how good was Murataya. The jury on my behalf was still out there, but he thoroughly convinced me. And like you mentioned on the Discord, PD, I agree. There's levels, and Murataya's on a different level. And according to like RGBA, what's his name? The trainer?
Robert Garcia.
Freaking Robert Garcia. Yeah, apparently everybody's afraid to, maybe not afraid, but they don't want to get in there against Murataya because he's a tough dude and he's used to piecing up like different sparring partners. And I was seeing the way he was landing that straight right on the back. Dude, the dude got power, man. The way how the fight played out, I was waiting. And I want to see. Okay, he's doing good. I want to see if La Sabache Torres can flip the script on him. You know, he's trying to catch him with one shot. Let me see once he catches him how Murataya reacts to the punch because he's been dropped before. But like you mentioned on the Discord, there's levels, and he was doing a great job of establishing and reestablishing the distance, not resetting because he wasn't the one getting put on the back foot. He was the one setting the pace. So he was establishing and reestablishing, and he was dropping the straight punches and Torres was more throwing like hooks and not so much uppercuts. Although I thought that was his best punch in previous fights, he didn't. He was like he didn't have the distance to throw and land that shot. So he was throwing like these counter hooks, but Murataya was leaving him out of the play. Now, in regards to Murataya, when he was throwing the straight shots and establishing the distance and leaving Asabache out of the play, once he started piecing them up, when he went for the kill, all of a sudden he mixed the hook in there, which he hadn't done. And I was impressed how Murataya did that because El Asabache didn't see that hook coming. He was getting more used to like Murataya going in and out, a 1 and a 2, boom, a straight fucking right hand down the middle. Then when he went for the kill, it was 1, 2, then a fucking combo when he started incorporating them hooks and the final flurry. And he got to him, and Asabache didn't see that coming. So the dude got power, he's explosive, and he knows when to drop his punches when it's time to get that dude out of there, and that's what he did when he incorporated the hooks. I thought that was very impressive.
I was impressed as well. Jimmy, how about you, man? What was your assessment, or what is your assessment of Raymond Murataya?
Yeah, no, he's got power. I can see where people don't want to spar him, but that always strikes me as odd because when you're sparring, no matter how hard you hit, you should be able to peel a little off. I know guys, I mean, if you're really a big banger, I mean, there's only so much you can hold back before it doesn't really, you're not sparring anymore, you're just playing. But yeah, no, it's good to see. I mean, of course, it's a Mexican, right? I mean, they're going to continue to put out good fighters. I wish the Americans could find some more. But and to be honest, though, I had a lot going on at the time. I watched more the Jeffy fight. I really kind of focused on that because I wanted to see his improvement. I saw him cut off the ring a little bit more than I have seen him in the past. I seen him work that uppercut in. He's got an excellent jab, but he's just robotic. And movers, like you said, BDA, are going to always be difficult for him because when he's not, he's one of those guys where he has to be in the right distance. Like everything has to be the right setup. Like if you just close in a little closer, out a little farther, you mess them all up. I just wish he could get more, less robotic. I don't know really what can you do to prevent that.
Well,
but
I got to tell you, man, in regards to the Murataya thing, you know what? Gonzalo said it too well, too. It's not just the speed and the power. I mean, that's always flashy. That's always what catches the eye of the beholder. But he was fainting. You know, Bradley said it in the commentary. He said he figured him out in the second round. And as soon as that third round started coming in, I said, "Yep, Asabache is going to have to press and try to turn it around with his physicality and heart, and he's going to have to eat bombs to do it." Murataya's got very good hand-eye coordination as well, and like Gonzalo said, he was piecing him up with the same shots, and then he took it to another level, and that's when the stoppage happened. So Murataya, he already beat Nakatila in much more impressive fashion than Shakur Stevenson did, and now he beats this guy. Hopefully they get him to a couple more fights. But I want to say one thing about the stoppage. That stoppage, again, just like with the Ajagba thing, I want to see guys get flattened. Asabache didn't complain too much, but I mean, that's what some guys are going to do. They're not going to whine and cry in the ring. They'll do that afterwards. But look, I give this Asabache a little bit more of a chance. I want to see him really get his claw cleaned. And maybe he's a puncher too, so maybe he turns it around. I don't understand what this... It was the night of pussy stoppages, and boxing's already got a black eye after what happened between Fury and Ngannou. We don't need more pussiness infiltrating and corrupting and infesting the sport.
Well, Mr. BDA, I
Bucho.
guarantee you're not going to see that if it was the house fighter. You watch how much more leeway the judges are going to give guys when it's the house fighter. Like it's the guy who's supposed to win. If he's hurt,
Right.
you watch how much more the refs will allow them before they'll jump in. But when it's the guy who's supposed to win is the one given the beating, it's like these refs, it's just become a thing. I thought both stoppages were premature, even with the. I thought that kid wasn't out on his feet. I mean, they don't complain that much, but they should have been complaining.
Yeah, and look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Torres was going to win, but we don't know because they stopped it. Let fights come to their natural conclusion, which is one guy flattened, preferably twitching, as his nerve endings get all fucked up. No, I'm kidding. No, but you know what I mean. It's like, these guys aren't going to die from one punch. Yeah, their health could be, it's going to be affected, but it's boxing. If you don't like it, don't get into the sport.
For a brief second after he got up.
Was that? I think there's a delay here. Anyway, if you want to jump
he did turn over to look at his corner. He looked at his corner briefly, like he did the old Mildred Taylor, kind of like Rocky Hernandez was doing. But I don't think that was the reason. Maybe Tony Weeks stopped it. It was just kind of like an early stoppage.
I mean, Tony Weeks, again, the same guy that allowed Ward to tee off and cobble his balls.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to double down to prove that he really cares. Like, kind of like, okay, I stopped the La Rosa versus Rolly fight early, but I'm kind of doing the same to double down and prove to you guys.
Well, hey, by the way, Weeks
like
admitted that he fumbled the ball against Barroso and Rolly Romero. So there's no excuse. I mean, I get what you're saying, Gonzalo. Maybe that's why he's doing it too. But this guy really should get out of the business. By the way, Adelaide Bird was in the crowd, not in the crowd, but in the front row. And I asked people in the Discord, what's she doing there? Somebody said that she actually had scored a fight during the earlier in another portion of the card. And I say, they're still giving her a job? You think we forgot about her horrible scorecard? Get this fucking... Listen, I'm sorry to use this type of language. I know it's a Sunday. But get this wench, this harpy, this witch out of boxing. It's a bad enough sport without this fucking idiot running around scoring fights.
Yeah, she scored a fight earlier on the card for the beat-side fighter. She actually did the right thing. It was an upset. Wow. I forget the dude's name. So people were out like doing reparations last night. They were on full damage control. Even Tim Bradley. Tim Bradley was like, oh, Murataya will piece up fucking Keyshawn Davis. It's like he probably got the memo that he was being biased in the past for the African Americans. So it was like a full damage control for ESPN.
He said that?
He was robbed. My winner.
No, but Bradley gets called like an Uncle Tom, bro.
Yeah,
and he's pretty lenient. You know what I'm saying? Which is weird. So I don't know how he feels about that. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know if he tries to hold the line any further.
Timothy Bradley makes some very good points, but then it's weird. He's hot and cold. He'll make some excellent points, and then he'll say something that makes you go scratch your head and go, "What the fuck is he talking about?" I'll give you one example, and this isn't the most egregious example, but it's right up there. It's he said afterward the Murataya fight. He goes, "I'm gonna say it right now." So now you're on the edge of your seat, going, "Whoa, what's he gonna say?" Murataya beats Keyshawn Davis. I'm thinking that's a big announcement. It's like, and then Kriegel got into it. He goes, well, Keyshawn's a prospect. And by the way, they keep referring to these Afro Anglos by their first names. They're on a first name basis with them, but then the other guys, it's always the last name. Anyway, he goes, Keyshawn's a prospect, and Murataya is already a contender at this point. And then Bradley goes, yeah, but Keyshawn is doing a lot of talking. So it's up, he's the one that's putting himself in the position. But I'm thinking, look, I understand that's what Bradley said, but by saying and being so dramatic and going, Murataya beats Keyshawn Davis, like that's a big revelation. It's actually making Keyshawn Davis out to be more as if it's a surprise that he would pick Murataya. Look, Keyshawn Davis is very good, he's very quick, but he's got a long ways to show us what he's got. And the problem with him is he's one of those modern day prospects who's fighting 3 or even 2 times a year. And they're thinking, hey, Lomachenko got a title in under 10 fights. So did a lot of these Japanese guys, like I believe Kenshiro Taraji, Alexander Usyk, Josh Taylor. That these guys have barely 20 fights and they're already at a world-class level. I can do it too. Well, sorry, but not all fighters are cut the same. And Keyshawn Davis has looked very good. He's a good technician. He's quick. He's got an amateur pedigree. but he's also failed to show us dominant performances where you go, holy shit, this guy's destroyed. Like what Murataya did. Yeah, I know Asabache wasn't exactly proven, but he was a young, tough fighter in his prime, and Murataya just beat him and then stopped him. I haven't seen the same thing from Keyshawn Davis. So for Bradley to say, whoa, Murataya beats him, this is my big revelation, I'm going against the grain, he's making Keyshawn Davis out to be more than what he actually is.
Well, BDA, you know what I think that is, bro? I think, like I was saying, I don't want to get too racial, bro, but I do think those comments that people get, they get back to him, and I think it does affect him.
Good.
So when he says that, look, it's coming from me, which means, like, look, bro, I'll even go against, like you said, I'll go against the grain this time. So someone could say, if it's coming from me or you or Gonzalo, well, you're biased Mexican, of course, you're going to talk up the Mexican prospect. But the black dude that talks up, Davis and Shakur and everything's like, nah, bro, even he can beat one of these guys. And it's coming from me. Like, I'm keeping it real.
Exactly.
That's how it kind of comes off to me.
That's what I was. That's what I was saying. Is invariably by saying, "Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna break the mold here. I pick Murataya over Keyshawn Davis." So, hey, Tim, that's not a surprise. Now you're invariably, indirectly, you're making Keyshawn Davis out to be more than what he actually is. He's got a long way to go before we can even start talking about his. But that's what they do nowadays. And look, that's top rank in ESPN, and we're gonna get to that. How they overhype fighters, including Shakur Stevenson. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, BDA, you're totally right. That's why I kind of agree with Mark Kriegel mentioned. You're right. You know why? That's kind of underhanded. Why not compare him to Devin Haney and all those other guys? Because he's at that level now. Why compare him to a prospect?
That's exactly, yeah. It's actually an underhanded, backhanded comment, actually. But maybe we're looking too much into it. I don't know. What else was I going to bring up? Yeah, but fellas, hit the like. I got to emphasize that how much we're at 64 likes. Unacceptable. We got to get to 100 likes, fellas. Get us to 100 likes, and I'll play some of my patented and classic soundboard special effects here. All right?
Fuck you.
Oh shit! Hold on. That's not what I was. That's not what I went to play. I'm sorry. It's Sunday. All right. What else? All right. So Raymond Murataya, he's got a good future ahead of him. But I tell you what, I'm not gonna overhype the guy. When you beat a guy like Nakatila, the way he beat him, impressive. Everyone loves a knockout, but it's an early knockout. I want to see this dude take on somebody that's really gonna test him, punch back, and then we'll see. But right now he's looking good. Don't get me wrong. Also on the undercard, now this is interesting, fellas. This is where I start getting interested. About a week and a half from now, Shakur Stevenson is going to be taken on the very dangerous Edwin de los Santos. A lot of people now, the internet is brewing. I got my finger on the pulse of the YouTube boxing community and social media. And now people are starting to simmer a little bit. Like, hey, who is this Edwin de los Santos guy? He's got a little bit of a mystique going. And one of the mystiques going into this fight was that his only loss was against a guy by the name of William Foster III. A very regal name. And William Foster said in an interview, he says, oh yeah, I broke Edwin de los Santos. He's a front runner. I broke him. So he fought last night against a fellow undefeated fighter, Lebron. No, not LeBron James. What's his name again? Henry Lebron. Boricua, Puerto Rican. Also undefeated. Well, wouldn't you know it, William Foster ended up getting outboxed. And so now Henry Lebron improves to 19-0, and he won by majority decision. Scorecards 96-95, 99-91, and then of course the dissenting scorecard 95-95. I just want to start off this one here. First of all, LeBron very good. I liked how he was able to score with 2 shots, weave, and then pivot away. He did that for the first 3 rounds beautifully. William Foster, I give him credit for trying. You can tell he's comfortable in the ring, but in terms of technique, his head was on the same straight line. He wasn't moving it. He was getting caught flush with shots. He started actually gaining some momentum in the middle rounds. It seems like he was going to turn things around. Then he got hurt by a body shot, and that's all she wrote. He never recovered from that. He got outworked and outboxed. But I'll say this about Henry Lebron. He started clinching after the 3rd round. And my thing is always, if I'm putting myself in the place of the referee, and I pretend that I'm a competent referee and I actually enforce the rules, which means preventing and forbidding clinching. After the 2nd clinch, that's when you should say, okay, this guy is going to become a serial clinching, a molester, as I like to call him. It's time to start warning him, taking some points away. Well, I was pleasantly surprised when the referee started warning LeBron about the clinches. And then guess what? He continued warning him, but he never deducted a point, which to me, in a way, is worse than ignoring the foul, because now you're showing us, hey, you're seeing the fouls, and yet you keep warning him over and over, but you never take a point away. Look, do I think William Foster could have beaten LeBron if had the clinching been prevented? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But we'll never know, because LeBron was clinching. And he wasn't clinching for the fun of it. He wasn't clinching because he gets him hard. He was clinching because he didn't want to fight Foster on the inside. So that's what I'm thinking. Look, you want to improve boxing. All you guys out there want to see boxing rise and you want to make it more entertaining. It's time to pressure these referees and to start enforcing the rules across the board. You can't look at the rules and say, well, a low blow is worse than a clinch, and therefore you got to deduct points accordingly. Nah, across the board. That's the only way to do it. There's no ifs and buts. There's no in between. It's got to be black or white. That's my issue with this. It's binary. As soon as you see that the guy's starting to become a serial clincher and he's doing it to get out of a tough spot, you start warning him and you start deducting points accordingly. I've had enough of this fucking clinching is part of the game. Muhammad Ali did it. It's up to the other guy to do something about it. Fuck it. It's up to us as fans to start demanding clean fights. That's all I wanted to say about that. But what did you guys think of the fight? Foster versus Henry LeBron. Anybody?
Yeah, it was a good entertaining fight. It was a good entertaining fight, BDA. You guys, I enjoyed it. Yeah, you're right. He's too comfortable. He laughs like a hyena in there. No, like he's having fun, but that's stupid grin. I'm kind of glad he lost.
Just because of that?
He looks a little bit like Diego Corrales, no Foster. Yeah, he's a good boxer. He had his moments in there, but LeBron, he picked it up and ran away with the decision. But that's the guy that beat correction. Foster was the guy that beat De Los Santos. Interesting.
Yeah, I really want to see that fight because that fight took place 2 years ago, I believe. And look, 2 years, people can improve. De Los Santos was 21, I believe, when that fight occurred. So it's not uncommon to see guys drastically improve after a loss, especially since apparently from what I read, again, I haven't seen any footage from this fight, but apparently De Los Santos got off to a good start and then he got tired. Now he claims that it's because, or I think his management has said that it's because he hadn't trained properly and he didn't have his trainer. It was his first fight out of the USA, blah, blah. So I don't know, but I'm really curious to see how that fight went down. But there's no footage as far as I know. So that's all we can go on right there. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Where are we at with the likes? 70 likes. So we went up from 5. The unacceptable. 100 likes. 100 likes or we're shutting this whole thing down. I'm not above that, by the way. I'm spiteful. I'll end this shit right now, man. We'll do the show off the air just for our own pleasure. But we're not going to give you guys... we're not going to give you guys any free content. Fuck that. Unless you hit the like. That's all. Just hit the like. What else, man? I'm looking at my notes here. Yes, I do get notes. All right, so that's what we got there with that fight. I thought it was an entertaining fight. But the clinching, it's got to stop. Please. It's not part of the game. It's not up to the other guy. Because I'll say this. When David Benavidez fought Caleb Plant was doing a lot of clinching. He never got a point deducted, by the way. Kenny Bailey's a referee, another horrible referee. Or actually a corrupt referee. I shouldn't say horrible. Just he knows what he's doing, but he's corrupt. Benavidez actually started using his forearm to try to pry Caleb Plant off of him. And Kenny Bailey's warned him about it. Hey, don't use your forearm. So this whole thing about, well, it's up to the other fighter to do something about it, that's a bad point to make, or bad argument, because David Benavidez tried doing it his way and breaking the rules as well, and the referee warned him. So fans, we are the last line of defense, because when you're dealing with cheaters who clinch, and then you're dealing with corrupt referees, what else is there to do? Well, it's up to us to complain about it.
Well, that's Kenny Bayless. That's the reason why. I mean, Floyd used to demand he was his ref because that was the one thing he considers clinching an intricate part of a person's repertoire.
Exactly. I'm starting to think these guys get off on it, man. Really, I'm starting to think these guys get sexually excited over clinching. Either that or they can't fight on the inside. And if that's the case, that's your problem. I don't want to see you clinch because you can't fight on the inside. It's not part of the game. It's not the sweet science. It's clinching is cheating. I'm going to open up the phone lines, by the way, and then we'll continue with some of the other subjects here that we get. We're entering the portion where we're gonna be. By the way, I didn't see the Makabu fight. Anyone see that? Apparently, Don King had a card last night. Anybody? Apparently, he got stuffed in the.
No, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I didn't watch that either, man. I mean, it's a cruiserweight division. We should, but it is what it is.
I didn't watch it either. I don't watch Don King cards.
Was that because you're racist?
For some reason, me neither.
Hey, BDA.
What's up, Never
It's
Sobers?
like Timothy Bradley said, bro. I don't know nothing about no Makabu.
Is that what he said? Well, they got the same size of head.
Who's Makabu? I don't know no Makabu. I don't know nothing about no Makabu.
They got the same head size, by the way. And that's interesting because fucking Makabu's a cruiserweight and Bradley's a welterweight. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. What I wanted to say was, well, okay, the phone lines are, well, let me open them up here. And yeah, we got a lot to talk to, a lot about the outside the ring comings and goings, a lot of whispers about fights that might happen, might not happen. Fighters, as always nowadays, blabbering away about who they're going to fight and who they don't want to fight and who doesn't want to fight them, blah, blah, blah. So give me 2 seconds here. The phone lines, what's going on here? Hold on. Are they open?
I'm more interested in who's not fighting these days.
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
There you go. Reconnect me, baby. Let's go.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds.
It is true.
What's that?
Freaking, I was going to mention, recognize you guys, BDA.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy. Never saw Timothy Bradley. He wants to, like, he's got this credibility thing going for him, and he wants you to listen. But it's like, oh, what is Timothy Bradley going to say next? If it's coming for me, y'all pay attention. Because I got you on this roller coaster of a ride now.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, I agree with that. But I'll say this though, he's a good commentator. He's got very good insight. But it's just every once in a while. I guess that's part of the modern day commentator now, that they, especially on the ESPN side, that they really gotta say controversial things to maybe get a rise or to start conversation. Hey, listen, we do it here too in the YouTube boxing community. But overall, I think he's good. But you're right, Gonzalo. He does preface things a lot by taking these little short pauses, like I'm about to drop some knowledge in on you. It's like, just fucking spit it out already. What else was I gonna say? Whoa, we already got a bunch of phone calls. Jeez Louise. All right, hold on a second, because we didn't take any phone calls in the last episode, which I want to commend you guys, by the way, too. That was a great show that we had. It was one of my favorites. The one where we were ranking everybody by category. I think I'm gonna make a short video out of it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mean you recognize. I meant everybody else. But yeah.
Feel free to eat as many tacos as you like on your free time, or just hit the pause button.
That's
and
right.
Take your breaks, BD.
Thank you. I'm not gonna eat any tacos today, but you got me thinking. Maybe I should. All right, let's go to a couple of phone calls here. Let's go to 386. 386. You're on the air. 386. What's on your mind?
Yo, my guys. Hey, how you doing, Gonzalo? BDA. Jimmy. Let me ask Jimmy something real quick. All right.
I'll let you this time, but go ahead.
Jim. Did you see that guy get his neck cut open in the minor league game?
Oh.
Yeah, Jonathan, the kid Jonathan. Yeah, it was terrible in England. Yeah, it was a horrible thing, man.
Yeah, I can't even watch it, man. Like, I always thought neck guard should be like, dude. I never wore a neck guard. You know, I was too good for that. But like, obviously, like even like a slight neck guard could have like delayed the bleeding and. That's a tragedy.
If you had the neck guard that the league's been messing with, just to make it real quick, if you had the neck guard that the league was messing with,
Jimmy, hold on, guys, you're talking at the same time. Hold on. Excuse me. Just to make it clear to the audience, could somebody? I don't know, Jimmy. Do you want to explain to the audience what you guys are talking about?
A kid who used to play in the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's playing in professional hockey in England. And it's simple, everyday play. He was just skating towards the guy. I don't remember exactly how the guy lost his balance or he got hit, but he kind of cartwheeled, and when he did, his skate came across and slit the guy's throat and hit his artery.
Dude,
and he died.
Jim, my dad thinks
before he even left the auditorium.
Dispersive. Like, my dad thinks the guy kicked him in his face. I was like, Dad, that just happens in hockey. I was like, it's like, Jim, I'm sure your leg is flared up, and like my dad's like, no, that was intentional. I was like, no, Dad, it just happens. Like he didn't try to cut the guy's
kid who did it. The kid who did it's all messed up. They said he's been like fucking under care and shit. He's been like distraught because even guys who fist fight in hockey, man, they'll go out and have drinks after. It's just a weird thing. It's like you leave it on the ice. They don't want to. They're all trying to make a living. They don't want to do that. No, it's the most horrific thing. I seen only one other time a Clint Malachuk, a Quebec Nordiques goalie, and he only survived because he was closest to the ring. He was on the side of the ice where the ambulance was parked.
Yeah, no,
it was a
two
horrific
others.
thing.
Yeah.
All right, now listen, fellas, we got
Jim, do you know Johnny Gaudreau? Jim, do you know Johnny Gaudreau?
Yes, but he's going to get
Boston
mad.
College.
He's going to get. Yes, I know Johnny played up in Maine once. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my line mate. That's my boy. Fucking
no shit.
Yeah,
wow.
He's not doing well.
Yeah, all right, man.
Who are we talking about?
They're talking about hockey, but yeah, that thing
The
I saw. I don't know.
Crawford.
I'll say this, man. I heard just a final note on this because we got to get back to boxing. But I heard some people are saying that it was intentional. That they've actually got experts saying that the move that he made to slash the guy's throat was actually an unusual move. It wasn't a natural movement that he was making to get out of the way or whatever. That indicates that he might have done it intentionally. But look, I'm not a hockey guy, so what do I know? But it's certainly starting to get interesting there, man. I was actually more shocked, other than the injury, I was more shocked that a black guy was playing hockey. That's what really shocked me. I was like, whoa, what's going on here, man? Pigs fly now as well? All right.
You're a real asshole, aren't you? This fucking
you're a
guy.
real piece of shit.
Why
did you sound...
Didn't the
Jackson,
black guy get his... No.
I know you're from Florida, but you sounded like you were real Southerner right there. Like, you're a real piece of shit.
You saw the injury. You saw the injury?
I didn't see the video.
This is from the guy that says if you eat burritos that he likes Mexicans.
That's
I remember that.
Exactly.
Yeah, you really know me. You're a real fucking scholar, man.
All right. All right. Well, listen, Jackson. Anything else you want to say?
No, hold on. I teach Gonzalo a lesson because obviously he doesn't know me very well.
Hey, Mr.
Because
BDA.
I've always respected you.
What?
Keep going, man. Yeah.
Yeah, get him out of here.
What do you think?
I just want to say, I think there is something to Crawford's. Let me just put my 2 cents in. I think there might be something to Crawford's like gloves. I've never seen somebody like hit that. Let me say lackadaisical, but like with power. Like
what about? Excuse me. What about
10 rounds of Crawford?
Kovalev used to.
What?
It's not unusual. Kovalev used to. He looked like he was slapping, and then he would fucking knock guys out. It's not unusual to see a guy. You don't have to. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted.
Fucking Russian. No, but I think Crawford, like he just like you see him throw these like very good like combinations, and like they're doing like nobody can go 10 rounds with Crawford without getting knocked out. So is that like his gloves?
He's really strong. Nah, it's just because he's really strong. I mean, I wouldn't say he's really strong, bro. He hits. He's strong, man. You can't hear me?
Nah, dog. He ain't strong. He ain't like
you wrestled him though?
Like Roy Jones strong, but.
And he's like one of those guys that
he is.
So what's your point, Jackson? What's your point? Just go ahead and say. You're saying that he's a guy. You think there's something going on? Is that what you're saying?
Trying to fucking destroy the whole fucking show. All right. Trying to.
All right. Well, I'll say
show.
this about Terence Crawford. I'll say this. We were having a discussion on the open lines thing. I do think that it was bizarre that he tried to hide the gloves when they exploded in the Avenisian fight, but there's no evidence that he tampered with it or anybody in his team. He's a big puncher, man. He's got that long ass arms. He's got speed. He's very accurate. That's just what happens. He knocks people out. I've yet to see anything that makes me go, whoa, wait a minute.
Recognize can hit harder. I don't believe that. And let me finish with this. I mean, of course I can hit harder.
I'm a god. You know, like.
He's a god.
Yeah, I'm a god. Like, I'm literally a god. I'm of God's creation.
All right, well, listen, Jackson, we got to move on here, man.
No, because I'm God's creation. All right, yo, you guys got to get me on the panel. You know, the people want to.
We're working on it. We're working on it. All right, well, listen, Action Jackson,
right.
Take it easy out there.
Work faster. All right, guys. Yeah.
Work faster.
Love you guys. Let's keep the booze going. All right, it was a bad day. I fired myself. Got rehired. Keep drinking.
Good. Congratulations there. See, I told you everything was going to work out, Action Jackson. All right, well, listen, thank you
Dude,
for your
who
call,
does
Action.
that? Yeah. All right, fellas.
All right, take it
Love
easy,
you.
man. I wish I could say the same. No, I'm kidding. Shout out to Action Jackson. I think it's time they cut him off, by the way. But hey, he said he got employment again, and I knew everything was going to work out for him. He's a hard worker. Based on
Nothing
what
better
I've
than
heard
when
him
you
say.
fire yourself and then you rehire yourself.
Come on, no, wait a minute. That's not what happened. All right, don't forget to hit the like,
Who gets
fellas.
fined on the day off?
Exactly. Don't forget to hit the likes, fellas. Hey, listen, we're at 75 likes. There's 115 people watching, so I don't know what's going on here. 100 likes, or like I said, we wrap it up right now.
Likes.
Yes, and it's not an
You know
idle
what, BDA?
threat.
End it right now. Just end it right now, BDA. End it.
Yeah, you're right. I should end it right now, but I'm going to extend. I'm going to give these guys. We're going to give these guys the benefit of the doubt, and we'll stay on the air for a couple more minutes. Let's go to our phone call here. Like I said, don't forget to hit the like. Really helps us out with the algorithm. Let's go to our phone call here. Let's go to 336. 336, you're on the air. 336. What's on your mind?
I have a lot to talk about. That last guy can't really handle his alcohol very well. I was Errol Spence maxing, myself earlier this morning. I woke up at 4 a.m. I went through like a case and a third of, or 1 1/3 case of like a wine and shit. I was like pissed drunk for about 4 hours. I went to sleep drunk. So I just, I had to bring that up. My punch resistance wasn't looking too good today.
On a Sunday morning.
When it comes to Cordina knocking out Lomachenko, that was pretty fucking impressive. It's another Wakanda that went down, I guess. I mean, I thought Lomachenko was going to win. I did see his power waning, though, at the elite level and at the world level. But Cordina kind of reminds me of Orlando Salido a little bit in the sense where he racked up losses at the Mexican domestic level and at his teenage years, and he climbed out of it. And like you said, he made a good point, BDA. If you can climb out of Mexican domestic level, which is probably the most competitive, Mecca, or, most competitive part of the sport nationally speaking at the domestic level, it's pretty impressive. You have to have some talent. So that was pretty cool. I would like to see him fight Taraji, I guess, because it looks like Jonathan Gonzalez doesn't want to fight him. So I guess maybe Gonzalez can fight Masamichi Ibuki, because Ibuki has, he stopped Taraji, but in his 15 wins, he's got 14 knockouts. And Gonzalez, the current WBO champ at light fly, has all his losses have come by knockouts. So that could be a really interesting fight. So that's my opinion on that. And so a very impressive win. When it comes to Cordina, I think he's dead at the weight. I actually think Lee Wood has a real chance to win. I mean, obviously, I think Cordina might have just edged it or got a draw. I don't think it was a robbery, but if you thought it went the other way, that's cool too. He just looks shot. Like maybe even that Crip Osheki Foster at this point wins because he's a huge junior lightweight. He has no business fighting at 130. And now that I'm thinking about 130 and shit, I think if Navarrete lynches Conceição, he's going to get frozen out of the weight class because Hector Garcia, he fights for the WBA at PBC. What else? And then you got Cordina and Foster. I don't think they want any part of Navarrete. So, I mean, he might be forced to fight at lightweight because I don't know if he's going to get any big fights after destroying Conceição. And the thing is, if Haney beats Prograis, which he probably will, he could fight for the WBO title against like some Russian dude because Loma might be tied up with Kambosa, so he can fight some old Russian or not Russian, old Ukrainian guy who's like 36. They're both he's undefeated, but still that he could theoretically fight for the vacant WBO title. I'd like to see him unify, but I think he's going to get frozen out. That's my opinion on Navarrete there. And when it comes to Murataya, he would destroy Keyshawn Davis, I think. I mean, nothing's set in stone, but I've always thought he was the better prospect anyways. And I guess Keyshawn Davis is going to end up fighting Pedraza, who's coming back down in weight after losing, to Ramirez and having a draw with Come, I guess. So he's coming back down to 135 and shit. I don't know how I feel about that. But what would happen is if, Keyshawn gets through Pedraza, I'd like to see him and Murataya fight, and the winner can fight for the WBO title, whether it be the vacant title or if the title's already won by someone else. Because Haney's not coming back down in the weight. He won't hold up the division anymore, and the WBO title is going to go vacant once he beats Prograis, most likely. So, because you can't, through the sanctioning body, you can't have two titles, or you can't have the WBO title and have a title in another division. That's their rules. So that's my opinion on that. And, yeah.
All right. By the way,
I got
did
one
you
last
say
thing for the Kumite.
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Good. I was gonna say, I need judges because there's too many Canelo dick washers, in your chat. There's too many fanboys and shit. So like, I have my list, my top 6 wins of Chocolatito's career versus Canelo's. That I'm gonna do against Doshin Gastos. But I need you, BDA, hopefully Boxing Chief, Jimmy, JDA, if you can get on, if Joe can come on, and then recognize the BBC. They can be the 5 judges. I like Gonzalo, but he's like,
damn, bro. Hey,
really
so everybody but me. That's what's up, bro.
Yeah, what about Never Sobers, man?
You said what?
He's not up to it? You Never Sobers is right here.
He's a Canelo fanboy too, though. Like, that's cool. Like, but he's a Canelo fan. Like, I need people that are unbiased.
Fanboy, okay.
He doesn't think. Right, yes, you are, bro. We were talking. We had this huge debate with Gatti Golovkin earlier. He said Triple G was supposed to knock out Canelo Alvarez, and you were sounding like the LDBC dude.
He was. Hey, bro. I thought Triple G was gonna knock the fuck out of Canelo, and I was very impressed when Canelo.
But he didn't
let him fucking do it. It looks like I severely overestimated Triple G, bro. So how does that make me a Canelo fanboy?
Triple G was clearly slowing down. He didn't stop Danny Jacobs. I don't think many people thought he was going to really knock out
Triple G never fucking answered the call out of Andre Ward, bro?
By the way, he definitely won the first fight, arguably the second. But like, I'm gonna pick Doshin Gastos apart. I just need 5 unbiased judges that know what they're talking about and can use proper.
He even gave him a little nickname.
I think those 5 are
like
unbiased.
Trump does. He gave him he called him Little G.
Yeah, but
all right. Well, listen. Hold on. We're getting into the. Hold on. Excuse me. Please. We're getting into this. This is going to be.
You might get in trouble.
This is all going to get covered on during that debate there that Dora and Donchin.
Yeah, I just need judges. That's all.
Right. By the way, before I let you go, did you say you were drinking? Excuse me, Dora. Excuse me. Did you say you were drinking wine in the morning? Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah. I woke up. I don't know, man. I'm just the reincarnation of Errol. I saw alcohol and that shit was talking to me.
Wine or wine
That's
coolers?
all I did was just fucking
wine or
drink.
wine coolers?
There's red wine. So the first case I had was red wine. The second case was white wine. And that shit was bad. I got fucked up. I was like sitting in the shower. I didn't throw up, but I was sitting in the shower for like a fucking hour, dude. I had a headache and all that shit.
Dora, I gotta tell you, I like you. You got some very good points, but you're a fucking weirdo, man. What the hell are you doing drinking wine?
Yeah, you're an alcoholic too. You're an alcoholic.
Yeah, I know, dude. I'm a fucking liquid heroin addict.
Hey,
too. You and
BDA,
I want to say you're a Pyman liker. Hell Pyman.
No, shut the fuck up. Don't say that even as a joke. Don't say that even as a joke, man.
BDA's a Pyman liker.
No, shut up. He leaves on that. Motherfucker. He knows that shit creeps me out, man. The whole demonology thing. All right, but shout out to Dora for his call. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out.
Dora the Explorer.
Hit the like.
And
we had 100 BDA?
No, we're not. That's a problem. That's a big problem. Reckon especially with
guys, you're an alcoholic too.
Yeah, I was gonna say more than that, but we are YouTube.
Hey, by the way, no, hold on. Excuse me. Yeah, we're still not at 100 likes. I get the feeling now people are doing it just to spite us. And guess what? Like I said, I'm a spiteful person too, so I'll spite you right back, and we'll end the show. Easy peasy breezy, as they say. That's all. That's it. You know what?
Don't take any calls until you hit the 100.
Well, listen.
Casino to walk.
I'll take one more call, and I'll take one more call, and then that's it. Anybody else that calls afterwards, we're not gonna let them
you're
until we get.
BDA, tell them, look, man. Either y'all getting some likes up, or I'm gonna start freestyling, bro.
Oh, there you go. I'm gonna start singing some rancheritas, like I'm at karaoke on a Friday night. There you go. You're not gonna enjoy that one, fellas. Let me tell you right off the bat. All right, let's go to a phone call, and then afterwards we'll put a moratorium on it before, unless we get 100 likes. Let's go to 323. 323, you're on the air. 323, what's on your mind?
What's going on, motherfuckers? I am 2 fucking sheets to the wind, and I want to say, you fucking cunt, you better hit the like fucking button. Hit the like button.
There you go.
Or this motherfucker is going to stop taking calls.
Hey man, I want to send a big shout out I appreciate the enthusiasm and the help, but that type of vituperative language is not something we enjoy over here. But anyway,
what does that mean? Like,
it's Sunday. It's Sunday. It's fucking. Right. It's motherfucking Sunday, and it's the best day for that language. So you cunt, you better hit the fucking like button, or you're as big, or if not a bigger cunt than Mirage. So you better hit the like button now.
What's Mirage? Poor Mirage is not here to defend himself. But anyway, go ahead.
That's a pretty huge cut.
Listen. If you don't hit the like button, you're gonna ride dicks like Mirage. Actually, he only rides one. But that's David Benavidez. But other than that, listen, I want to give a big shout out to a fighter that fought last night on the top rank card, Charlie Sheehy. He fights at 135. Man, the kid is he's got solid fundamentals. They're working him up. He's a really good fighter, and I've been watching this kid for a long time, even in the amateurs. The guy's got really good bright future ahead of him. So I just want to send a good shout out to Charlie Sheehy on his victory last night. I think he moved up to 8-0. 8-0 last night, 5 knockouts. So really proud of that kid. Another thing I wanted to say that Raymond Murrieta fight was, man, I've got to agree with somebody said that it was kind of a low blow or a kind of like a backhanded comment to say that he could beat Keyshawn. I think he's in the running. I think he's in the running now. After that victory, he was very poised. He was very controlled. He used his distance very well. I saw him take a couple of clean shots. And Torres is a power puncher. I saw him take a couple of clean shots, really solid clean shots. He took them well. He didn't overreact. He didn't try to get his back. He just took his time. He was well composed, and he executed beautifully. I think the stoppage was a little shitty. I got to admit, the stoppage was kind of, but it was heading there. We all. I don't know. Can you all agree that it was heading towards the stoppage?
I don't know, because they stopped it too early.
Yeah, but I mean the way the fight was heading, like the way the fight was heading, the way he was landing clean shots with impunity after a while, like he had figured out his guy, he had his number. I don't like the premature stoppages. I hate premature. Was that Tony Tampon Weeks? That was the ref.
Listen, now you want to circumvent the salty language. Go ahead, call him what it is, a fucking gaping asshole. That's what it is.
I mean, Tampon Weeks, right? That was Tampon Weeks?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, that was him. So, yeah, what is up with him and these fucking stoppages?
Oh, no, excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me. That the referee for the Murataya fight was a bald, a white guy. I'm not saying white as in a pejorative thing, but he looked like a Martian. This dude like a bald alien.
I saw Tony Weeks do a fight. I'm not sure. Maybe I was watching a lot of fights last night, so I'm not sure which one it was. But yeah, I just don't agree with the stoppage. I think the stoppage was kind of shitty. But the fundamentals are there. I think he's got the patience. He's got the maturity. And like on the first round, I thought maybe he was taking a couple of shots. He was blocking really well, but I saw him take some clean shots that he shouldn't have really taken with a sloppy fighter like Torres. I think Torres is just to come forward. He's throwing a barrage, not the most articulate, not the most fundamentally sound fighter. And Raymond took some pretty flush shots. I'm not going to over exaggerate the flush shots he took. I think he took like one or two really solid, and he took them well. And he didn't. What I was really impressed with was that he didn't overreact, and he didn't get flustered, and he didn't panic. He just kept going. He just was poised and well controlled. And I think he could do a couple more fights, and he could really be in the running as a solid contender at 135. I really do.
Yeah, we're gonna keep
my opinion. Anyways, I would love to be a non-biased judge on Don Chingazos and Dora's argument here, because I don't really have a skin in the game, but that would be a pretty good, entertaining back and forth. I think I caught a little bit of it, and man, I love Don Chingazos. He's got some pretty good comebacks. He's got some pretty good arguments, but Dora can ramble. Dora can fucking ramble your ear off.
Well, listen, let me confer with the board of directors here, and we'll see if we can squeeze you in as a judge. Because Dora asked for me to be a judge, but then I go, wait a minute. If you're asking for a specific judge, I don't know. That seems a little.
That's already biased right there.
Yeah, right there.
Who's he asking for to judge a debate?
Everyone on the panel except
Well,
me, bro.
you know what?
That's what
JDA wouldn't be a good judge because he'll like go cab driver on you and he'll fucking yell at your ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that would be the punishment for the loser. He gets to be admonished and lambasted by Joe. You fucking disgrace.
He'll yell at you and he'll take you to the station. That's your punishment.
Yeah, he'll give you a shellacking. That's what he'll do to you. But listen,
Just real quick to Don Madrazos.
Go ahead.
Delays, bro.
Yeah, Torres is not necessarily like a sloppy fighter. It's just that Murataya made a miss, and at some point he started like reaching and swinging for the fences because he was trying to land that one punch after not being able to get at him for many rounds. So he's not necessarily a sloppy fighter. He was an undefeated fighter facing a better fighter who left him out of the play, out of distance.
Yeah, that's
In other words,
look, I'll give you that. I'll give you that, Gonzalo. I'll give you that. But there were moments where I'll give you that. That's a valid point. But you've got to be able to maintain self-control, even if the other guy has an upper hand at moments, because you're early on in the fight. I mean, he was landing some clean shots on him, and Torres just got like flustered and he got sloppy. And you can't allow that to happen. You've got to maintain control of yourself. You got to stay poised and controlled. So if you're going to react to a guy that way, then yeah, I would say even if you've had fundamentals you've showed fundamentals against other fighters, once you come up to somebody that's at your level or better or a little bit better, you've got to start trying to control your emotions, and you got to start trying to control your shots. And he just he gave a lot of people the impression that he was very sloppy about it because he let his emotions get the best of him.
Whoa,
just because you're confronted with the better fighter. I don't know, but that's just how I saw it. But I get your point, Gonzalo. I get your point.
Yeah, when you're overmatched that way, he needs a little more seasoning. We'll see where he goes because he's a good fighter too. But we'll see if Top Rank continues.
He's good. He's got power. And if you can control that power and just develop the fundamentals, he's going to be pretty good. But just not at that level. I just don't see it happening on the Murataya level. That's it.
All right. Well, listen.
I get what you're saying.
Don Maranazos, thank you for your call and call back next time, right? Again, we'll work. I'm going to talk to
you guys.
BD. I'm going to talk to the board of directors, see if we can squeeze you in as a judge. So be ready, all right, man?
Hey, BDA board of directors, have a good motherfucking Sunday.
All right, I'm going to hang up on you now, man. Thank you. The potty mouth, though. My goodness gracious. By the way, Joe probably could be. In fact, speaking of Joe, we got Joe right now here on the air. Joe, are you there? How you doing, man?
Not fucking good, you fucking rat scumbag.
Oh, wait a minute. What did I say about the language? We just get off with one potty mouth, we hang up on one potty mouth, and then another one comes up here. What's the matter with you?
You're in the wrong fucking city, you fucking scumbag.
No. I'm in the right city. I'm in my city. That's where I'm at. What are you going to do?
Take your fucking mask off, you fucking scumbag.
I'm going to keep my mask on. I'm being, what's it called? Responsible.
Fuck you. Fuck all you motherfuckers.
All right. Joe's getting out of hand.
Hey, Joe, did you forget to shout out God and Jesus at the same time?
Come on. All right, so I got to talk to Joe, see if he wants to be a judge. So we got Don Marazos, Joe. Jimmy's always impartial, so we can get him. Gonzalo, you're Mexican. I know you're impartial, but people are going to bring up the fact that you're Mexican. I think we need non-Mexicans on the as judges.
What's the debate about, anyway?
I don't even know. No, it's about... It was about Canelo being overrated, I think. Right? I think that Jimmy, you were there on the panel. Was that what it was, or Never Sobers too? You were there. You guys.
It was a combination of that. I think it was just a combination about like Canelo, and he was. Then they started getting into like he was saying that Chocolatito actually has a better resume and stuff like that. But actually, to be totally honest, when it comes to like Chocolatito and stuff, Gonzalo knows more about that than I. I think, in fact, I'm just being honest. I think Gonzalo would make a better judge than I would on this.
He's trying to stack the judges in his favor, bro.
Well, maybe there should be a Mexican judge, and to try to balance things out. But I'm your leader in the chat says that we should let the crowd decide. That's not going to work though, because what if there's more Canelo? I mean, Canelo is the face of boxing, so logic dictates that there's going to be more Canelo fans in the crowd. So we got to do it like the kumite, old school kumite, which is where we convene a panel or we unite a panel of judges, like the Supreme Court. The guys that we know can pull off this type of judging.
But how do you win a debate about an opinion, right? Like, okay, somebody might think, like, I think guys like Canelo are overrated and underrated. Like, the haters, they underrate him, and his fanboys probably overrate him.
Okay, but the thing is, though, recognize is, it's an opinion, you're right, but sometimes it can be a fact. That's why we listen to what the guys have to say. Whoever makes the best argument is going to win.
That's true.
That's the problem with you, recognize. You've been eating too many waffles and ice cream. It's gone to your head a little bit. It's freezing your head.
I'm a big Triple G fan.
On it too.
Jeez,
I was always
that's a lot of sugar.
I was always like Recognize. I kind of would agree that Recognize is a big Triple G fan, just like me. At the time when Triple G was in his prime, I was a bigger Triple G fan than I was Canelo's. Just like many Mexicans, Triple G was the man. But when Canelo fought Triple G, he got better. And there's certain things about Canelo's game that you cannot deny. His defense and his chin. They're freaking generationally like good, like the chin. Generational chin, generational.
Gonzalo, I'm going to have to stop you right there, fellas. I'm going to have to. We got an incoming debate about that. I think the less we say about this subject matter, the better.
We don't want to give them any. We don't want to give them any little nuggets. Let them earn it. Let them earn
that for then, right?
That's correct. We want to let these guys work their magic, not our magic. I mean, listen, I hate to toot our own horn here, but
when I work my magic, you know what happens, right? You know what happens, right?
Yeah, elevators break. That's what happens. No, I'm kidding. But
how dare you?
I'm kidding. We got a phone call here. I'll let you. I want to switch it up a little bit here. I want to let you, but the problem is there's a delay between you and the caller. So I was going to let one of you guys handle the call. Anyway, we'll see how it works. 650, you on the air. 650. What's on your mind?
The kumite has to be a poll, BDA. I was the last person that did a kumite, and you pulled me. And I was going for Fury against Usyk. There's more Usyk fanboys, arguably, in this community than Canelo fanboys. So let's keep it consistent and do a poll. We don't need no judges. Okay.
But can I interject on that? I'm your leader. First of all, you did very well in that debate. That was
keep it consistent.
Yeah, but hold on. Yeah, but that's the thing, though. That kumite, I hosted that kumite. Butch is usually the one that hosted, and the way he's always done it, he's the one that came up with the idea of the kumite in the first place. He's always done it with a smaller, select group of panelists. So, listen, if you want to be a judge, I'd be willing to let you jump on board and do that.
Only if we do the poll. I don't want to be a selective judge. I'll place my poll in the chat if you put up a poll.
The only one who's ever done that, the kumite that way, was me. So again, in order to keep it consistent, it would actually be the way Bucho's done it.
See, I don't think that's right, man. That's like a cop-out excuse. He's already making excuses already. That the whole he's already saying the whole chat and the whole BDA family is Canelo nut huggers. I think we're a little more objective than that over here, to be honest.
Well, I don't know, man. Look, again, if we keep it consistent, it's the way Bucho's done it, and that's why I'm staying out of it. By the way, I don't even want to be a judge. I just want to be a listener.
Yeah, the judging thing, that's kind of weak, bro. Then you don't get to hear the whole consensus opinion. If I was in the debate, I'd feel like that's kind of weak. I wouldn't really even debate. I prefer it to be the chat and the whole community speak. Well, who cares if they're Canelo fanboys? What if he can win over some Canelo fanboys?
I'm gonna vote for I'm your leader to.
You know what I mean? You got to go for the kill in the debates, right? It's how you perform in the debate. Maybe it's not people will just vote for you just because of the way you performed.
First of all, right? There's a delay here. Sorry about that. Or echo. Look, Recognize said that he wants you to be a judge.
Yes.
Nah.
I'm voting you in.
He's voting.
No, what do you mean nah? You brought it up. I'm voting you in.
Anyway, I'll let you go, BDA. Those are my thoughts.
All right. Thank you for your
time. All right, brother.
Take it easy, man.
See you, man.
Yeah, listen.
You get scared?
Nah. He doesn't want to be a judgment. But listen, here's what we can do. we can do it the way Butcher's always done it, which is a smaller judge panel, a cadre of select judges, and then we go to the audience just to get their input at the end. So we get it's almost like, well, what do they have in the United States? What do you guys have? You have the popular, what's that called? The popular vote, and then the electoral college, or whatever the fuck that is in the U.S.
College, and then you have the overall vote, the popular
The electoral vote and the popular vote.
There you go.
Who the people elect, and then who the representatives elect.
There you go.
No,
so
like
I think we could do it that way.
Joe Biden got 80+ million votes.
Okay, no. You can't. We can go. We can get into that on YouTube. We can't get into that, unfortunately.
Just think about it.
Hey, by the way, this is a good fuel for Second Renaissance. I'm not seeing a lot of election talk. Usually a year, or we're already in November. This is usually when they start in the mainstream media talking about it. They're not talking about it, which indicates that I'm telling you, Butcher said the same thing. 2024, watch out, fellas. It's gonna be hectic, to say the least. A lot of surprise. If you like surprises, 2024, hooey! I think it's gonna be full of surprises. All right. What else we got here? Well, first of all, I got to go to latrines here, but I wanted to leave you guys with a subject here. Well, I'll talk about it. What's that?
Trina? Oh, I thought you said Trina.
Well, listen, I'm about to drop some. Well, anyway, look, here's what I wanted to talk about. After the bout, the ESPN card, they were talking about Shakur Stevenson versus Edwin de los Santos, which is going to be taking place on a Thursday, some sort of a NASCAR week or something, whatever. So they're talking about that fight. And there you got Bradley, you got Kriegel, you got Osuna, or whatever his name is. And they're talking and they're singing their praises for Shakur Stevenson. Now, Bradley's talking about it from a fighter's perspective. He's going, well, hey, De Los Santos is fast. He's got a big left hand. If I were him, I would do this. Then he says that Shakur Stevenson's jab might be the difference and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then Kriegel goes, they're putting a PBC guy, because De Los Santos apparently is a PBC guy, or Al Heyman guy at least. They're putting him in there against Shakur Stevenson. What are they trying to do? And then Bradley goes, well, they're scoping for a potential Davis matchup, Tank Davis. They want to see how Shakur Stevenson would do against a quick, hard-hitting southpaw. So they started talking about that. And then Kriegel goes, I think that fight would be interesting, Tank Davis for Shakur Stevenson, and I'm going to assume, he says, that Shakur Stevenson is going to beat De Los Santos because I saw him spar, and Shakur's a wizard. They started referring to the guy as a wizard, a boxing wizard. Then it was a nonstop 3-minute wankfest over. They were essentially jerking Shakur Stevenson off. Then they turned to Navarrete, saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, Navarrete. By the way, as an aside, Navarrete is fighting on the undercard too. Oh yeah, he's going to be very hard to beat, as he proved against Oscar Valdez." I'm thinking, wait a minute, it's going to be very hard to beat. They're talking about Shakur Stevenson as he's unbeatable. Yeah, he's already beaten Edwin de los Santos. All he has to do is show up and he's going to win that fight. Meanwhile, Navarrete, oh, hey, by the way, that guy's fighting too, and he's going to be very hard to beat. Wait a minute. Again, I gotta mention this. For years, we heard a specific demographic, and other people as well, but mostly one demographic, saying that the reason why they hated Lomachenko and they rooted against him was because he was being overhyped. Well, are you going to sit there and tell me Shakur Stevenson isn't being overhyped? And look, I get ESPN and Top Rank, they have to do it. He's their product. They got to do it. Same thing as they would do with Lomachenko and with Manny Pacquiao, with everybody they've had since then, or since. But you got fans too, and writers and experts saying, hey, Shakur Stevenson, nobody beats him between 130 and 140, unbeatable. And I'm thinking, I've heard that story before. I heard it with Lomachenko when he was making people quit nonstop at 130, and we heard people saying, oh, the only person that can beat him is Crawford at 140. And how did that work out? Same thing with Earl Spence. After he beat little fat Mikey Garcia, people were going, nobody at 147 can beat him. Nobody at 140 can beat him. Nobody at 154 can beat him. He's got to go all the way up to 160. And even then, some people were picking him over Canelo. I'm thinking, look, hold your horses. Hasn't even beaten a good lightweight. And people are already seeing his press that he beats everybody. That, to me, is overhyped. This dude is being overhyped. I'll let you guys talk about that if you want, and I'll be right back. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this Shakur Stevenson situation.
He's overhyped, and not only that, B-Day, he's not exciting. And he's a flagrant fouler. He hits below the belt constantly. He's a guy that's got damaged hands, for one. He doesn't carry a lot of power. I mean, he does have some power because he does have speed and timing. You guys So that's one of those things. He's not exciting. Look, Murataya took out Nakatila in 2 rounds. He went the distance. They didn't want to trade with Nakatila. Too dangerous. Now, Adrete on the undercard beat Shakur Stevenson's 3 opponents that they got in common way worse than what Shakur performed against those guys. So it's one of those things. He's a defensive fighter that rarely likes to trade and only gets guys out of there when he has the advantage in speed because of his good timing, in my opinion. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. It's his feed. They're in love with his feed at ESPN. I'll admit, I respect Shakur Stevens' ability. I think I like his ability more than a lot of the guys on here. Doesn't take away from what he did that night. Beating that dude's nutsack up the way he did. I'm not going to say that didn't happen, and I can totally understand why that would infuriate a lot of people. But I think he's a master of time and space. I think he's really, really good at that, and I think that's what's going to catapult him. But you are also right. He's not an exciting fighter, although he has, to his credit, gotten more excited. His couple of fights, 3 or 4 fights back, he was so boring. Remember Timothy Bradley went on a rip, ripped him up saying, listen, this is professional fighting. This is prize fighting. If people, don't want to see you box, you're not going to make any money at this sport, And to his credit, I felt that he came out the next fight and he stepped on the gas and he tried, he's now trying to go after it more. It's still a work in progress, but again, we'll see. This is definitely his toughest test is coming, I think, Thursday. So, that's it for me.
I'll say this about, what's his name? Shakur Stevenson is, Bradley made that same point. It's like, well, ever since then, he's fought more aggressively. It's like, okay, I give him credit, but he did against Jamel Herring, an older fighter who, he came back now as well. But essentially, he retired after the Shakur Stevenson fight. Jermaine Ortiz beat him. Then he retired. Now he's back. But I mean, he couldn't even drop Herring. He was one of those even that people forget that was a bit of a BS stoppage. So he hasn't. The only guy he stopped since was a Japanese fighter no one heard of, and Oscar Valdez. I mean, people like to make out this narrative that he walked Valdez down. He didn't walk Valdez down. He held the center of the ring, good for him, but he wasn't walking the good dude down. And then the Conceição fight, I can't even give him credit for that, when he hit him with 50 low blows. So, I need to see more from Shakur Stevenson. And here's the other thing, like I said, they were singing Shakur Stevenson's praises. They just nonstop. And then Navarrete, they go, oh yeah, he's going to be hard to beat. Well, excuse me, the same reason people are hyping Shakur Stevenson up is based off his wins. But then Navarrete has already showed you that he's beaten 3 common opponents better than Shakur Stevenson did. Now, I understand if it would only been 1 common opponent, I'd be like, that's not enough to go on. But 3 common opponents, and then on top of that, Navarrete also beat Ruben Villa, who is a very good fighter, and he beat the crap out of Dogbo in a way no one's ever done it. I don't understand why he's not getting the same level of praise that Shakur Stevenson is doing, even though he's been performing slightly better by getting these stoppages and beating these guys up. But he's not getting the same praise. I guess it's because he's not as fast as Shakur Stevenson. And maybe it's because, like I said, there's a bit of American bias too. ESPN Top Rank, they want to have that American that they can look at. I mean, they've compared him with Floyd Mayweather in the past. For Pete's sakes, I mean, look, I know people aren't fond of Mayweather's character, but you can't deny that he was moving differently, like the Zoomers say nowadays. He was moving differently even in the beginning of his career. So Shakur Stevenson is a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but come on. People are already saying nobody can beat him between 130 and 140 pounds. That's overhype. That's overhype. And it's the same thing people were doing with Lomachenko. So if you'd hated that with Lomachenko, you got to keep it consistent here.
The fight with Joel Gonzalez, BDA, was one of the most boring fights I've seen in recent memory. Super boring.
Well, that was boring too. I mean, come on. But,
And Nakatila, I mentioned it. I don't know if you heard, but you know already that Murataya took him out in 2 rounds where he was scared to trade with Nakatila. Murataya in 2 rounds, he got him out of there.
Yeah, exactly. So you're seeing guys one-upping him with common opponents, and especially Navarrete. I mean, that's 3 now common opponents. that he's done it better than the Shakur Stevenson. So why Navarrete isn't being called unstoppable, unbeatable, I don't know. But they do it with Shakur Stevenson, so it is what it is. But sticking to Shakur Stevenson, though, again, he's a very good fighter, don't get me wrong. I'm just not going to overhype him and say that he's unstoppable. But what's interesting about Shakur Stevenson is I'm looking at Twitter, and I'm starting to see, like, in the Afro-Anglo community, the LDBC, they're siding more with Devin Haney in the war of words. They're siding with Haney as opposed to with Shakur Stevenson. I say, is this because Shakur Stevenson's a top-ranked guy? Or is it because he claimed Puerto Rican lineage? I don't know,
no,
man.
It started with the top rank. Started with top rank, and because Bill Haney has given his full devotion to the LDBC channels.
Interesting. I think. What does anyone else think? Well, I'll say this then. Yeah, it's interesting to see that they went with that narrative. Again, it's when you're talking about.
Sorry.
When you're talking about disseminating narratives, people have to want to accept that narrative. They want it to be real, and it's easier to swallow, like a sugar on a pill. And that's what Bill Haney does with these LDBC channels. They already root for Haney, and that's what they want to believe. They want to believe that Shakur Stevenson doesn't want to fight him. Now, it's interesting about this. I don't know. Shakur Stevenson really should have there's some things he could have done better, like call the bluff and say, yeah, I'll accept the money. Anytime you go, well, you're lowballing me. Look at what Usyk did with Fury. He called his bluff, said, all right, I'll take your shit ass offer and I'll beat your ass for it. That's what Shakur Stevenson should have done. Regardless of that, Bill Haney is a convicted drug dealer. He knows how to play people. Jimmy once said something interesting. He said, Bill Haney's the type of guy, he's not the muscle, but he's the guy that'll tell the muscle what to do. He's a good talker. And people fall into his trap and his web of lies and deceit. With the Lomachenko thing. Hey, Lomachenko avoided us. Lomachenko beats him in the eyes of many, even if you want to say Haney beat him. Even if let's go with that narrative. Let's say Haney, he might have edged it out. But that performance from Lomachenko proved the reason why Lomachenko shouldn't have even fought him in the first place when Haney was a 20-year-old prospect. It would have been a massacre for Lomachenko. But they played it up.
He would have boxed his nose off.
Right, but that's the thing. People wanted to believe that Lomachenko really was avoiding Haney. They wanted to believe it. That's why they went with it. And then after this fight happened, after the Lomachenko-Haney fight, you notice you've never heard people talking about that anymore. That for 4 years, that was the big lie. Or 3 years, excuse me. But anyway, the point is this. They're turning on Shakur Stevenson, which I thought that was their best bet, because if they want to keep it consistent and they want to root for the most able-bodied Afro-Anglo, they would go with Shakur Stevenson. But again, Shakur Stevenson's with top rank, and then he's also claiming Puerto Rican lineage, which puts him more in line with Wilfredo Benitez than Sugar Ray Leonard. Saludos, claro. So I don't know. That's interesting, man. It's interesting to see the Afro-Anglo side more with Devin Haney. Oh, and of course, who can forget Tank Davis? I mean, that's the guy they relate to the most, and we're gonna get to Tank Davis later. But yeah, why do you guys think?
He's the better of the three. He's just a lackey. That's what he is.
Who is a lackey?
Tank. I think he's better than the three guys you mentioned. I'm not saying that he beats them. I'm just saying he's better. Like he's fun to watch. He goes for, he knocks people out. It's just that he hasn't grown, And I'm not talking about in height. I'm talking about like.
Come on now. Why you got to go with the height?
His boxing skills hasn't grown.
Well, at least he gets knockouts.
But that's what I'm saying. He's way more entertaining than these guys. I would rather, if I had that was my choice. Tank, Shakur Stevenson, and Devin Haney. I would much rather watch Tank fight.
I'll put it this way. Tank Davis isn't even really that entertaining because, yeah, he scores the knockouts, but it's like Deontay Wilder. It's a whole lot of nothing beforehand, and then he scores a knockout. The guy who's got the most ability, I would say, is Shakur Stevenson because he tends to be a little bit more consistent throughout the fight. And Devin Haney, I mean, he's got the best record out of those guys overall. But even then, there's a lot of asterisks.
Might be the best one out of all of them when it's all said and done. But I know I get what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, it's good. It's going to be interesting to see. And like somebody said in the chat, who said, hold on, I'm looking for it. I think I already lost the comment. But somebody said they just need to fight. And that's the thing, though. They're not fighting. They're fighting on Twitter. They're not fighting each other in the ring.
Yeah.
And I'd hate to see another Crawford Spence situation where the fight gets made 4 years too late. I mean, fuck, Bill Haney said, "Oh yeah, my son is Shakur. I 147. That's definitely going to happen." 147. What the fuck? When is that going to happen? When Agenda 31 happens? I mean, I don't understand, man. These guys are fucking.
They don't want that fight. They're not going to try to fight Haney. I mean, Haney's not going to try to fight him. That's why I said 147 exactly. And again, all those places that Haney keeps showing up on, he's been doing a little rounds of podcasts lately. And of course, he only goes to podcasts where they, give him softball questions. You don't ask him. Like the first thing I'd say to him, where was that money coming from? Who was going to pay you 10 times more than you've ever been paid in your life? $32 million for you. Look at your pay-per-view numbers. Look at your numbers overall, your ticket sales. I mean, $10 million. He doesn't warrant a $10 million fucking payday between him and Shakur. Never mind $30 million. It was so obviously a lie that it was blatant. And again, it's just because he didn't want to say that I can't make 135 anymore, and I would have been too emaciated. But he wants to still kind of hold on to the belts. But
yeah, what was that about? That was confusing, man. It's like, I'll fight this guy 140, but I'll fight this other dude at 135. Again, I'm getting too much Teofimo Senior vibes from the Haneys. And, Prograde called him out on it. He says, you only chose me after I looked like crap against Zorrilla. But you're going to find out, he told him. So, hey, let's see if he keeps his word and shows up in a different way. Let's go to a phone call here, and then we'll continue with this subject because there's still some other things to say about it. Let's go to 757. You're in the air. 757. What's on your mind?
What's going on? I just want to speak a little bit. You can hear me?
Barely, man. Are you on the Bluetooth? Are you on the Bluetooth?
Yeah.
Get off the Bluetooth, please. Please get off the Bluetooth. Yeah, that affects the quality of the call.
You can hear me now?
A little bit better. Yes, go ahead. Talk loud, please. Speak up.
All right. Yeah, I just want to speak a little bit about the Shakur Stevenson slander that you guys have been giving up on the show. Uh-huh. Listen, man, boxing skills of Shakur Stevenson are undeniable. What you see when you watch Navarrete fight, yeah, it's a little exciting, but it's only exciting because he's taking punches. He fought some bum from Australia, I think it was earlier this year. He almost got stopped in like the second round. Is this the guy that you're comparing to Shakur Stevenson? A guy that almost gets knocked out in the second round by nobody? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Like, listen, I know there's a lot of love for Mexican fighters. You know what I mean? On these platforms, there's a lot of Mexicans that are on these platforms and stuff. There's a lot of bias as well. But we all know what's really going on. Congratulations to Murataya. It was a good victory. But he's not really on Shakur Stevenson's level, is he? Bob Arum, he wants to do the same thing Oscar is doing. He wants to collect those Mexican dollars by matching up Murataya with lesser opponents, get them easy fight one after another, and keep collecting Mexican dollars. He knows he doesn't want to put him in there with a top-rated black fighter like Shakur Stevenson, because we all know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, all this Shakur Stevenson slander is cute until your favorite fighter gets put in the ring with him and then get beat the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when he hits him low like 100 times and the referee don't call it, yeah.
I keep going back to the same thing. Virgil Ortiz, he was Bud Crawford's mandatory for almost 2 years. He didn't submit the paperwork because he didn't want to smoke. All he does is beat up cans. He's a front runner. Murataya, the same thing. We're talking about Murataya like he's being promoted by the PBC. He's not. He's on the same side of the street as Shakur Stevenson. If he wants to fight, say the name. He doesn't say any of the top names.
You're going a little bit all over the place here. First of all, let's stick to the Shakur Stevenson thing. You mentioned that Shakur Stevenson slander. What was exactly? Could you just repeat what was slanderous about what we said?
it's criticism that I think is unfounded, right? Oh, somebody beat Nakatila in 2 rounds where he took a whole 12 rounds. Styles make fights, right?
That's what I said.
So
but hold on. That's what I said.
That night.
But hold on, excuse me, caller. That's what I said. I said it's not when a guy knocks the other guy in 2 rounds. There's not that much to go with. So I said that. My thing is, I'll repeat because I asked you what was slanderous, and you brought up another thing here. I'm saying is Shakur Stevenson, the same way people were complaining about Vasily Lomachenko being overhyped by Top Rank in ESPN, which is what they're supposed to do because they're television and promoting a business. They're doing to Shakur Stevenson. And then I said, we got a guy in Navarrete. Yeah, you're right. He looked like shit in the Valdez with that Australian dude. But then looked at what he did to 3 better opponents and common opponents from Shakur Stevenson. And not only that, you can also throw in Isaac Dogbo in there. No one's done to Dogbo what Navarrete has done. Not even Luis Ramirez, not Joed Gonzalez,
Isaac
not
Dogbo was 5'1".
Was that?
I said Isaac Dogbo is 5'1". We're talking about lightweights. Anyways, all I wanted to say is that it's clear that Shakur Stevenson is an all-time great. He's building his legacy right now. There's a lot of Mexican hatred towards black fighters right now, but there's not a lot of Mexican fighters signing up to fight these same said black fighters. Is what I'm talking about. There's a lot of
hold on. I gotta cut you off. Hold on. I gotta cut. Hold on. Caller. I gotta cut you off. Caller. Can you hear me? 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 You already said that. You already said that. But the people in the panel are telling me. First, you just said Shakur Stevenson is an all-time great. They got the same common opponents with Navarrete. Would you say Navarrete is an all-time great?
He almost got knocked out by a bum earlier this year, man. I can't call him an all-time great.
But he beat the same guys.
Came back and knocked him out.
Yeah, he came back and knocked him out. I mean,
almost getting knocked out is not getting knocked out. That's remarkable that you come back and knock the dude that's beating you up.
Caller, let me say this, caller. Let me say this, caller. Let me say this, caller. Let me say this. You accused people of being Mexicans being biased against Afro-Anglos. You sound like an Afro-Anglo. The things that you're saying sound like you're projecting. Sounds like you're biased towards your own people and everybody else can go fuck themselves. Look, on this show, we gave Shakur Stevenson his credit. I said it myself. I'm the one that talked the most about it. And I said, look, I think he's being overrated, but he's very good. In fact, before your call, I said, I think he's the best and most consistent out of all the other Afro-Anglos, Tank Davis and Devin Haney. So it's just, we gave him some criticism and you can take it. That's what
it about Afro-Anglo? I don't know who that is. I'm not an Afro-Anglo.
What are you then?
Right? I'm an African American.
It's the same thing. That's what it's just a synonym for it. Don't take it too seriously.
All right, Shakur is better than all of the other fighters. He's better than Mexicans as well. Don't just compare him to black fighters. Like this is what I'm saying. There's all this like sneak dissing. There's always this manipulative language to try to use backhanded compliments and stuff like that. So you don't have to do that. We want to see the fight.
VA money. VA money. If Shakur's so good, if Shakur's so good, why don't he go to 154 and fight Virgil Ortiz and beat that Mexican up?
Okay, now
why don't he beat that Mexican up?
He didn't hear you. He's not listening to your question.
That would be impressive.
Why is there
that would be impressive, bro.
He's never sober. He's not listening to your question. He's just talking and talking and talking.
It's okay. I'm not listening to him. It's okay. I'm not listening to him.
Yeah, listen, caller, there's no Mexican bias here. We give guys their props. You can just, the proof's in the pudding. I don't even have to prove it to you. Just listen to the shows as well. We criticize everybody because no one's above criticism. Nobody's perfect. You just can't seem to handle it. And so you're the one that brought up the Mexican thing. Oh, the Mexicans are biased. I'm Mexican. Gonzalo's Mexican. Never Sober is Mexican. We're not. We give guys their props and we also criticize them because that's what we do on this show. It's a boxing show. We got to analyze guys. And once you're sizing these guys up, you also got to point out their flaws. You know, don't
Mr.
have
BD, ask him who he picked in the Fulton Inoue fight.
Caller, did you hear that question?
Oh, we know who he picked.
He hung up.
Oh, yeah.
He hung up.
Who do we got to analyze?
Real quick.
We got to analyze what?
Shakur Stevenson's Puerto Rican, bro. So chill out with that.
Yeah, he's Puerto Rican.
Exactly.
Listen, the lineage that he's continuing the lineage of great defensive fighters like Wilfred Benitez, man. I mean, you got to give him his props.
Listen, man. To all the African Americans, when it comes to Shakur Stevens, back the fuck up. He's Puerto Rican.
But that's what I understand about the caller. He said Shakur Stevens is an all-time great. I'm thinking, well, Navarrete is beating the same guys he's beaten, and he's done it better. Oh, but because he almost lost. Listen, almost losing doesn't detract from being an all-time great. It's the wins that count, and he keeps on winning. So I think he even caught on to that himself, and that's why he ended up hanging up. By the way, Knockout Net says VA money. I think that's the caller. VA money owes people money. My goodness gracious! Please don't tell me that's true. A man that fails to others, probably. I mean, a man that fails to honor.
He got hit by Nakatila with one good shot hard, and he just decided to run all freaking fight. So yeah, if you define that as being great, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, skills pay the bills.
So I was gonna say too, if he's so good, bro, why did he apologize after that fight to his fans and then try to switch up his style afterwards?
I am your leader in the chat says. I am your leader in the chat says he owes me $250 from the Fulton fight. Oh man, see, I gotta tell you, a man who fails to honor. That's why I always tell people. Look, I don't gamble because for A, I don't trust people on the internet, and B, when you're on the true path of the Crimson Cross, gambling is forbidden. So that's why I do it. But if I am gonna bet with somebody, you better believe I'm gonna uphold my bets because your word is your bond on this YouTube thing. That's all you really have, your opinion and your word. And if you're failing to honor bets, I'm sorry, man. That's a bad look.
That's fucked up. That's a real bad luck.
He's a welcher. He's a welcher.
That's the way.
So he was that convinced that he was that convinced that Fulton. So I guess like he brought that same energy about like nobody's great until they fight a black fighter because that's basically what he was saying about the Mexicans.
Well,
so I guess he must have thought that way about Inoue, and it didn't work out too much for him.
I'd like to hear his version of it.
You know what? To Fulton, I gave him his props and going over and fighting, but he shouldn't have made it racial. And when he did two things. He made it racial and basically called him a cheetah in his own country. And the very proud people, like they don't have any of that fucking goofy behavior over there. And that's what he was saying to him in Japanese as he was beating him all over the fucking ring, pointing to his hand.
Well, listen. I'd like to hear from what's his name, VA Money, about those bets because I want to hear his version. Again, I don't know. That's what people are saying. In the chat.
What we learned is that VA money is not good money.
Oh, wait a minute. You can say
that's
that.
Not good money. I mean, your leader said that he owes him $250. So
yeah, VA Money or I keep my money is what he's saying.
I remember that when he called. I remember, him and he was making bets. Yeah, I think that happened on this show.
Yeah, these bets are. I remember what's his name, Campos. He's the one that wants to. He's the one that really wants to go after him, man. But we'll see what happens, man. All right.
Well, you said it then, Mr. BDA. You said I don't do this whole internet gambling because
I don't
of obvious reasons.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna gamble and put money up against some guy I've never met in face to face. Maybe I'm crazy. All right, let's go to a couple of phone calls here. Let's go to.
If you ever want to make it official, you just have someone to PayPal, and you both deposit the money into PayPal. Someone's PayPal.
Yeah, what's going on, boss man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. 945. What's on your mind?
Hey, man, I was just calling in because the last caller seemed to have some. I guess I would call them identity issues. You know, those people that they can't handle criticism and they don't pay attention to the good things you say. They only pay attention to the negative, and that's why he wanted to lead with the Shakur slander. Because honestly, who gives a fuck? I mean, excuse my language, but it's like stop crying. Like no llores, way. It's okay. Like everybody gets it. It's just when you're talking about these Negros heroes and shit, they can't seem to handle anything remotely negative. Like if you're not sitting there sucking them off, then you're an enemy to them, and it's so weird the way that they behave, and I don't understand it. But you literally had just got through saying that Shakur is probably the best out of the bunch. He's like, oh no, you can't say that. He's better than the Mexicans too. It's like, well, okay, but what the fuck does that have to do with what we're saying?
Well, can I say this, caller? Can I say this? Slander would have been if I would have said Shakur Stevenson sucks. That would have been slander.
Or if you would have said that Shakur Stevenson is clout chasing, or you're saying that Shakur Stevenson isn't, or I don't know. I don't understand what even slander is. Because I mean, at this point, this is a boxing show. We're speaking on boxing, the good, the bad, the evil, and the worst of them. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, get out your fucking feelings, bro. This guy doesn't know who you are. Shakur's not gonna inbox you later like, hey, bro, thanks for sticking up for me. Like, bro, you're a clown. You stop behaving like that. You're a grown ass fucking man.
Well, can I say this, caller?
I ain't never gone up for a man the way that they have. It's weird.
Yeah, that was gonna say. Gonzalo he pointed this out. That he said there's a big faction of fans that sometimes it doesn't matter what you say about their fighter, no matter how many positive things you say, it's never enough. They want you to deep throw the guy, and sometimes the more
it's like you can have a 10-page essay on how great the fighter is, but the moment you say a negative thing, is you're a hater, you're a cloud chaser, you know, he's got more money than you though, and all this weird shit. It's like, bro, how old are you? Like, are you like seriously?
You got more
These
money.
people are weird.
You got more money than you do.
It's tribalism. It's what
But
happens
honestly,
when everybody
like
starts
you
feeling
said, you alluded to it. It was projecting, and he's doing a lot of projecting. You know, he likes to big up for his own people, and he sees it as an issue with anybody else doing it.
Well, I'll tell you this though, it's good for the show. I hope they never stop calling in and saying those type of things because it's good for the show.
I agree completely.
Absolutely.
You know what you do with people like that, man?
Discerning opinion is always good for dialogue. It's great.
Gonzalo wants to say something. I think there's a big delay between the callers and the discourse. So guys, tread carefully. Gonzalo, go ahead. Yeah.
No, you just put one in the head and two in the chest.
There you go. Yeah, like Tom Cruise in Collateral. Listen.
Because it was kind of cutting in and out a little bit.
There you go. Caller, anything else you want to say?
Extreme.
No, man. I just wanted to say, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I love black fighters, but out of all of them, Shakur is probably the one who demands the most respect. Devin Haney, he has some very snake ways, and he's a very big opportunistic person, and it plays into the reason why he's not liked by the mass public, because we can all see it. We're not blind. You know, we see you hiding on the zone behind Eddie Hearn for 4 years, calling out Loma in the ring, but when Mauricio Suleiman comes out and he says behind closed doors, you never asked for Lomachenko, it's very blatant that it's like, bro, you're clout chasing Lomachenko, and then you run away with a fucking split decision. Well, it was a unanimous decision, but it's like, bro, everybody in the entire arena, including your own people, saw you lose that fight. Like, and then you ran out the ring avoiding Shakur. So very, very snake and weasel ways that Haney has. And his father, like you said, it gives Teofimo Lopez Sr. vibes. He talks too fucking much.
Well, listen, caller, man, you made some excellent points right there, and it takes a whole different types of people to build a village. But thank you for your call, and call back next time, right, man?
Saludos, brother. God bless. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to the phone call here. We're almost at we still got some things to talk about. 336, you're on the air. 336. What's on your mind?
Yo. I'm gonna make this quick because I called it.
No, keep it PC. Keep it politically. Hey, Dora, keep it politically correct.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But the last call made a good point. After Loma lost to Tio, Haney never ever sent a contract offer to Lomachenko. He asked for one too. Loma asked for one. Go ahead and send me an offer. He never did. That bum waited out Loma as long as possible to still get his ass kicked and get another Black American robbery decision. He's a fucking overrated fighter. He's not a hype job, but he's clearly overrated. And secondly, when it comes to Shakur Stevenson, Conceição is going to be the fourth victim that Nava has outperformed Shakur Stevenson in his career. He did it with Christopher Diaz. He did it with Valdez, Joet Gonzalez, and Conceição is going to be left swinging from a fucking tree. In 2 weeks.
I said keep it PC, man. I'm gonna have to hang up on you, man.
I
Sunday
said he's just gonna swing from a tree. Maybe,
I heard what you said. That's it.
Dude.
All right. It's making me look bad now. But shout out to Dora for his call. Jeez Louise. By the way,
I'm just gonna hang up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hang up. I gotta do it sometimes. Shout out to Fight or Flight Boxing. I think he was on the Open Lines Friday panel. He says for his contribution to Super Chat, he says caller is on point. Talking about the previous caller, Haney is a paper champ. Well, I mean, look, listen, Haney's a good fighter too. See, again, I'm keeping it consistent here. He's a good fighter. Did I think he won that Lomachenko fight? No. but he didn't disgrace himself. Yeah, he didn't disgrace. It's not like he got run over. He didn't quit like some of the other guys that fought Lomachenko. So I give him his credit. But I thought he lost the fight.
He got outpointed in that fight, like
by a guy who was 11 years his senior, and fucking 5 inches with a shorter punches, and smaller at 35 years. You know what I mean? Just come on, that was an absolute ass mugging. And fucking, and he's a usurper, and it was, his father, out there spreading bullshit on the LDBC channels, talking about how he was never in any war. He was never in any war. How the fuck would you know? Were you calling your connections in Kiev? You clown. You know what I mean?
I'll say this, man.
Yo, my brother from Kiev. Yo, my brother. I got brothers in Kiev.
Just like, right? Keep it on boxing and shit. Like, you make it fucking personal. You attack something as personal as that. Like, his city where he grew up. Think about it, guys. Imagine the town you grew up in was bombed, and guarantee half the people he knows his age, men, are dead. I mean, it's almost a guaranteed. And this motherfucker's on YouTube channels bashing him. The level of classlessness it takes to even do that.
Listen,
can I say something? Can I say something about that? Can I just say something about that real quick? Yeah, let's not forget Devin Haney is the one that said, "I'll never let a white boy beat me." So you can talk about all you want about white people being racist, Mexicans being racist, but there's usually it's only one side of fighters that are making it racial. So it is what it is.
Can I just add one more thing real quick about his whole fucking, I don't know if he joined the Muslim. Listen, I have friends who are Muslims, and there's not a snowball's chance in fucking hell their girlfriend's going to be at some eatery with her pants hanging half down her ass cheeks with a big fucking thong ass sticking out. You know what I mean? Like, that's his girlfriend. He's posting on shit. He ain't a real Muslim. No, you know what I mean? Like, dude, get out of here. You're playing a game, dude. Everything about that dude is a fucking pose.
Yeah, you know what was a real shady move too? We know Lomachenko's a small man, a smaller guy for the division. Haney, I think it was the first time in a long time, or if not ever, the weigh-in was like a day and a half, maybe like 40 hours. The fight was like 40 hours after the weigh-in.
22 hours. I mean, it was 36? 36 hours. 36. So it was almost 2 full days after the fucking weigh-in. That's criminal. And they got a guy who's fighting in a division bigger than he should be. He's only there because nobody in the division below him would fight him. So he's up there, and here's a guy squeezing down to 135. And you got that, and you ran. You ran out of the fucking auditorium. You ran out of the weight class. But you still want to hang around for certain people. But Lomachenko's name don't come out of your mouth unless you're insulting him or spreading more lies. Dude's just he's
a huge dude, Jimmy. Look, even now, Progress is way smaller than Haney. Even for the 140-pound division, he's still a fucking weight bully.
Lomachenko beat him. I don't give a flying fuck what those judges say. Just go with every pro, every writer, anybody who's been around the fucking game who has a sliver of fucking credibility says Lomachenko clearly won. You know what I mean? It wasn't like fucking, it goes draw. No, Lomachenko won that fight, every aspect of it.
But I gotta say this though, because I think I cut off recognize because I just wanted to get something to recognize. You still remember what you're gonna say about the war? Something about the Ukraine, because Jimmy was talking about the Lomachenko in Ukraine. All right, maybe if he comes back. But I'll say this though, in regards to keeping up the bets and all that with the previous caller, apparently he made some wagers that he failed to pay. Again, I don't know what's going on, but I Am Your Leader put this up. He said apparently this is from a chat that they were in during the Fulton Inoue fight or prior to the Fulton Inoue fight. And here I Am Your Leader says, VA money, bet me. And then VA says 250. And then I Am Your Leader says done. And I Am Your Leader asserts that he failed to receive the money. So that VA money owes him money. So again, I don't know where this is from. I don't know where it was.
No, I'm gonna believe I'm Your Leader. I'm gonna believe him on this one.
Well, there's a you know what? Recognize there's an unwritten rule in the YouTube in YTBC that says that if you fail to pay your bets, it's you get excommunicated, and essentially you get kicked off the reservation. So, I mean that's usually. I mean, if
it should be. You come in here and you fucking what like you said, Mr. BDA. What do you got if not your word? We don't have anything. We're just a voice coming out of a speaker.
As an executive board member, I vote to kick VA. What's his name? VA money.
Yeah.
Yeah, until you pay your debt.
Yeah, okay. I'm voting. I'm voting to draw up a resolution where we can make a vote on it, and to have him kicked out until he pays. I'm your leader.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
That should be everybody across the board. Every YouTube channel should do that.
If this is
he has
true,
he has to pay. I'm your leader, and
if
then
this
he
is
can call
factual, I'm gonna have to play the sound effect.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
That's not it. This one.
Shame on you!
I mean, listen, you
There
got
you
to pay your bets, man. I don't know what's going on here. It's but I mean, listen.
we can have him on. We could have him on. We're gonna call him No Good Money. No good money.
VA Money. You gotta. I'm your leader, and VA Money, call in and iron this thing out, because it really is important. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're gonna bet somebody and then you say no, it really does put puts a damper on your credibility. Now, next, I mean, when you say egregious things like, oh, there's a lot of bias against Afro-Anglos, blah blah blah, but then you fail to pay your bets, it sounds like you're making mountains out of molehills, and then you fail to pay your bets. It's an affront to your character. So I would suggest that both guys call in. Let's iron this thing out. We always mend fences around here, and I think this is a good opportunity to do so as well. In the meantime,
yeah, that's a guy I think I heard one time that he prides himself as being a good gambler. That he's always consistently getting his bets right.
But apparently he doesn't pay him when he loses. I mean, that to me is a mark of somebody that's.
I'll make a bet. I'll bet my life he thinks Haney won.
Well, apparently that's what he's saying in the chat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we can't forget the body work, Jimmy. The body snatch. The body shots.
Yeah.
Haney could have gotten dropped twice, and like literally lost every round. And if they gave Haney the decision, oh yeah, he won. It was a close fight. Could have went either way.
And just imagine, seriously, being around guys like Steve Kim and all these fucking dudes who've been following this shit for decades, living it, right? Who know boxing inside out. Never mind all the professional fighters. Some of them cracking jokes, going, Lomachenko should grab his wallet. That was a straight robbery. I mean, they don't say that unless it was what it was. Garcia, everybody, Robert Garcia was like, yeah, no, Lomachenko won that fight. It's not even fucking up for debate. And so to sit there and be that, you're not being like, the Katarian person or whatever they call it. You're just being stupid. You sound like a fool because you can't, if someone will say, okay, tell me the rounds he won. What did he do? Because you can't. He was outpunched. Lomachenko landed more effective punches, landed the most punches. They fought at his pace. He was never rocked. Haney was hurt on numerous occasions. I had to reach out and grab him. Please. To sit there and say Haney won that fight, we know why. And it's as simple as that.
I'll say this, man. I'll say this. First of all, fight or flight boxing in the chances. Go, Jimmy, go. Thanks for him for his super chat right there, saying go, Jimmy, go. He turned to Chuck Berry right there. Also, I want to say this. Look, I'm not a gambler. Again, when you're in the true path of the Crimson Cross, gambling is a big bozo no-no. That being said, if I were a betting man, I would place a large wager that VA Money doesn't call back today with I'm your leader to really straighten this out, because I mean, people are really going at him in the chat. And look, I can't. This is like they say in the streets. This is a free smoke channel. If I start banning people for little insults and all that, then this channel loses that mantle. So I gotta let it go. By the way, the other thing that sort of bugged me a little bit was on Friday I was listening to the show that Bucho was hosting, the open lines. There was a guy saying, calling white people pasty white-faced. Whatever. He was using the term pasty white face. He said it about 3-4 times. Then somebody in the chat provided a super chat, and he called, I forget what the comment was, but he made some disparaging comments about Afro-Anglos, which I'm against too, by the way. But again, it's open lines Friday, anything goes. And I see one guy in the chat go, oh, I see this channel has failed to change its racist ways. I'm thinking, wait a minute, you heard a guy say pasty white-faced people, mayo jars. That's fine. He had no qualms with that. But as soon as it's against his group of people, oh, all of a sudden, I'm outraged. Look, I allow people I make fun of my own heritage as well, because that's the way I grew up. I don't know if other people grew up in segregated neighborhoods or whatever. I grew up around a whole bunch of people, and that's how we busted balls. We made jokes about each other's heritage and ethnicity. So it ain't going to change. I'll tell you that much. This channel ain't never going to change.
A bunch of softies, man.
And he walked into the show like that, too. That's how he came on the show. There wasn't like any thing happened. Like, he literally started talking, and he said, and he started calling people, well, yeah, of course you'd say that, being a white pasty guy, and just started going off. Just like, it was fucking like, you know what I mean, dude? Like, because listen, what it is, in their soul, they know they're wrong, right? In their soul. In being a man, you hate lying. There's a bit of you, even if you're a sociopath, there's a bit of you, a part of you that can't stand lying. So they become aggressive, right? So they mask it with aggression. Fucking white and pasty, blah, blah, blah. Because you can't, everything you espouse crumbles under the slightest fucking scrutiny. So you have to come aggressive, yell over people. They won't let you, they'll divert, conflate questions. And they think I mean, like, that's really what you spent your Saturday night doing? Seriously?
Well, you know what? It was interesting too. Bucho was laughing every time he would say it. So it just goes to show you that if it sounds funny, he'll get a laugh. You won't get a groan here. Don't say that. That's too much. Fuck it. Say what you feel, but then don't go
Nobody
around
said
crying
anything
victim
to him.
afterwards.
Yeah, nobody said anything. Just rock your shit out.
I would have said, shut up, boy. Just like that.
Yeah, they don't. Anyway, we're not gonna get into this, but I'm curious. In the second instance, I want to ask somebody, an Afro-Anglo, where that boy thing, when that became a bad thing. But anyway, that's a second instance.
I say it to their face, man. I say it to their face. I mean, when they get racial, I just be like, "Yo, shut up, boy." And they,
listen.
Their face turns white.
Speaking of people that are, at the height of a little boy, Tank Davis is acting very weird, even for his custom, because I don't know if you guys heard, but he's still under some form of house arrest, I think. The judge is putting him under some sort of a restraint. And a couple of weeks ago, Tank Davis said, this judge is crazy. My life is in danger in Baltimore, but they're forcing me to stay in Baltimore. Which begged the question, why the fuck is his life in danger in Baltimore? What's he up to, or what's going on? Then,
first of all, I believe him, but that's not the judge's fucking problem. You know what? You should be in jail. That's what you should be. You should be locked up. How many chances did they give him?
I mean, yeah, he got a slap on the wrist. Then again, I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, he should be in jail. If it was anybody else, and I'm not saying it has anything to do with race. If he was a poor black kid who nobody knew and he did what he did, his ass would be in jail. That's it.
Well, apparently, what he said a couple of I don't know what he said recently, but he repeated that. He said that he can't train properly. Now that's what he's going with now. That he can't train properly because he's in Baltimore. And somebody said, hold on a second, I'm looking for the tweet here. I know I had it here. Okay, well,
somebody suggested that he brings the gym to his house, to him.
Okay, here's what he said. Hold on. Here's what he said. Here's what he said. He said, I'll read it to you because it's two tweets. It's that the one you're talking about came after. He said, somebody said, man, when is Gervonta gonna fight next? I need a trip. And Gervonta replied by saying, maybe never. The judge won't like me. What? Again, he's a professional boxer, not a wordsmith. So he says, the judge won't like me.
Writer.
Yeah, the judge won't like me leave for proper training. Might be over. So I think he's being somewhat facetious. He's not really saying that he's gonna retire. But then what Jimmy was alluding to was this. Hold on a second. I'm having trouble here today with the no, hold on. Okay, so this is the one where I Am Your Leader told VA Money he bet him money and VA Money ended up wedging apparently. This is I Am Your Leader's proof. Anyway, this is what Tank Davis later said. Shout out to Haymanites for capturing this tweet. Somebody said to Davis, well then you better bring the gym to you. And Gervonta Davis replied by saying, shut the fuck up before I bring a black eye to you. So, hey, listen. They're just words. But this is coming from a guy who's constantly in trouble with the law. So impulse control is not exactly his best virtue. So that's what's going on with him. I don't know, man. Obviously I don't think he's gonna retire.
Well, he deletes those. Let's put it out there. That's the reason why those guys take snapshots, because he deletes them within a minute, so you can tell. You know what I mean? That's why you have to, because when he does things like that, he catches himself after, or maybe somebody reads them close to him saying, "Dude, take that down." Because sometimes he'll leave them up there, very, very infrequently, but anytime it's a threatening tweet or something stupid like that, being like a professional boxer, and you're telling a fan, and again, didn't insult you, just said, well, have the gym come to you. You're, claim to be a millionaire. You're wearing iced up fucking jewelry. You can't throw in a fucking boxing gym or wing on the side of your house. You know what I mean? And what's his response? I'll punch you. Because that's exactly what he would have done if that dude would have suggested it to him.
And you know what's interesting about that,
insane, man.
If anybody else would have said that, I'd be like, it's a little out of hand, but hey, maybe it's a word. He's just words. But coming from him with the low impulse control, the rap sheet as long as my, well, you know what? I mean, it's just, you go, what the heck is going on here? That's like Reyes in the chat says, that dude didn't even say anything hostile to him. And that's his response? Exactly. It wasn't even it wasn't even like, hey, cocksucker, get the fuck off your fat ass. It wasn't that. It was, why don't you
And it's like that all the time, too. Like all the time. He has those responses all the time and deletes them. Mm-hmm. That dude Hamonites takes pictures of them all. He has them all. It's crazy. He says all kinds of stupid shit, threatening people. I fucked your mother. Like, just crude, crash shit. Like, dude, when you have millions of followers, what is it? I don't know, a couple of million, I think, or a million? Mm-hmm. No. What am I talking about? I'm thinking about Garcia. But he's got a good following and big enough in that community. Like, you can't even hold yourself above it, dude. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
it's amazing.
He's a pugnacious character, to say the least. And that's why it's costing him.
I like how he threatens everybody. He doesn't even know though. He's just like, shut up before I kill you.
Well, I mean, that's probably how he's led his life. That's his go-to thing. That's his solution to things, violence. Like Jake the Muss from Once Were Warriors. I mean, that's what he jumps to. He's like, hey, I'm gonna kick your ass and that'll fix everything.
Dude, we're in the fucking world now where everybody's carrying HD cameras. Right? And he can't keep from choking his fucking woman out, grabbing her by the throat in front of strangers. Like, you can't even control that shit, man. That's crazy.
Well, you know what?
That's a whole nother level of stupid. And then he didn't even get all the way to the bathroom when he punched her, because that's what he was eventually charged with. It's not just a grab, and he eventually put hands on her inside the under the stairs area.
I will say this: the boxing world is more interesting with Tank Davis in it as a boxer. So he should really. I mean, look, he's not a kid anymore. He's 27 years old. For some of us, that's young, but I mean, he's an adult. He's not a 19-year-old, 18-year-old, 17-year-old. So, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, can you play something? He sent it to me, and he just sent it to me. So I said, "Oh, ask me, can you play it?" It's a Tank Davis. It's 21 seconds.
Is it when he's talking about the judge, or?
Oh, no. This is when. It's 21 seconds. It's excellent. This is when he was, just to show you the kind, because he's on Twitter saying all these NIGGs have to get past me, blah, blah, blah. Just like he's constantly lately been saying shit nebulous, like basically saying everybody's going to get past him, but he won't say anybody's name, right? We know he's going to end up fighting fucking Cruz again. It's such a joke.
Jamie, just don't put a hard R on it, Jamie. Just say it, bro. It's okay.
Well, yeah, Jimmy.
Tell the show these, but
Jimmy, when people call you white, I've said it before. When people call you white, you pull the Italian card and say, "I'm Italian. I ain't white." That way, now you can say that what Never Sober is saying. You get a pass when you're Italian.
Well,
anyway, I'm just giving you it.
Nervous to say too.
Did you guys also see the picture I printed in the Discord? The drag march. That's actually Gervonta, the way he dresses.
No, yeah.
Look at that outfit he's got on. That's a true outfit. That's what he can. Yeah, like that's bizarre.
Well, let me play you this clip because I'm having a hard time.
It's fresh as fuck to me.
It tells you who he is as a fighter.
Nah, come on. I mean, I'm not gonna get too much into the style thing. I mean, it's the behavior.
I'm talking about the video. The video will tell you exactly who he is as a fighter.
Oh, okay. Well, let me prop it up here. I'm having a hard time putting things up here today, but all right, here it is. This is the clip that he's talking about.
We want to see you fight Lomachenko. We want to see you fight Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez. How many times you don't went in there and said, "I want these niggas, man"?
To be honest, I ain't never said it.
Gervonta Davis, he's best of the best fighter on Twitter.
Well, I mean,
that was funny as fuck.
Yeah, I'll say this, man. Shout out to Haymanites. I bet that's who made it. But look, there's one thing about calling. I hate when people call each other out without the intention of doing it. So I'll give Tank Davis props for that. At least he's being upfront about it. Say, look, I'm not going to call him out because then I look like an even bigger jackass. But the fact that his promoter too, Floyd Mayweather, well, he's no longer his official promoter, but we all know what's going on there. He's got a psychological and perhaps sexual hold on Gervonta as well. But I'll say this. He said it himself after I think it was the Barrios win or the Isaac Cruz fight. He says, look, we want to keep things in-house. They don't want to venture out. They want to do what they did with Errol Spence from the PBC side. They want to keep matching him up against guys in his own stable that he's the favorite against. And then maybe in a couple of years, they'll cash him out against the cream of the crop. But for now, I mean, that clip right there, Jimmy, that just encapsulates, again, like you said, what he's all about. He doesn't want to go after those guys.
Nope, not at all.
And by the way, I know people are going to... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just responding to you. I was saying, nope, not at all.
Well, I was going to say, I can already preemptively see what's going to happen here, that people are going to say, well, why are you hating on Gervonta? We're just playing what he said, like what he did with Ryan Garcia when he put a dehydration clause, and he said, well, I'm just trying to even things up. But if you point that out, people say that you're hating. But I'm just repeating what he said. So I really don't see the problem. Yeah,
it's I'm sorry. Just that riles me up because it's a fact. For 5 years, there's the receipts, one after another. Haymanites has all those too. He sent out those tweets with year after year, starting in 2017. Floyd, Tank's not ready to face him. We're in 2018. We're not ready to face Lomachenko. It went on until 2021 when Tank said, "Well, yeah, I'll probably fight him this year or next year or after." So he was like, he had no intentions of ever fight. The only time that was even discussed, and Bob gets real heated in that same video where he says he's the best fighter on Twitter. That was when Bob freaks out. Don't bring up Tank Davis. Talk to Floyd. He called me once when they were on the outs and fucking, wanted to make the fight because, you want to fucking leave and not pay attention? I'll make the Lomachenko fight. But once they kissed and made up, that was off the table. Basically threatened with making that fight. Then it was never talked about. Then he was asked, and that's 2022, right? I believe, or late 2021, he was asked, we have all these guys, you ever run in there? I want all these. No, I've never asked for any of them. So when he's on Twitter talking about, blah, blah, and his fans are all talking about who's ducked him, it's horse shit. This guy it's been going on 7 years since he fucking fought his last legitimate opponent. In the back when he was actually so much better than he is now. It's sad.
Well, it's interesting about that is that's why I was asking why is the Afro-Anglo community turning on Shakur Stevenson when he's much more consistent in the ring? He's a real boxer, like he's a professional boxer. I've never seen him in shape. Puerto Rico. There you go. Well, yeah, that's a true. Yeah. But meanwhile, Shakur Stevenson, now the defense for Tank Davis is, well, he doesn't care about, he's still making much more money than everyone else. And I think, that's what they're going with. So I'm thinking, okay, so you're admitting that he's not working for you, meaning he's not giving you what you want. Why do these guys care how much money Tank Davis makes? I have no clue. But even Robert Garcia was getting into this a little bit because, again, Raymond Murataya had a great performance last night. So somebody asked, Tank Davis versus Raymond Murataya, who wins? And Robert Garcia put up this tweet, says, what's the rehydration clause and what gloves will he be forced to use? So, and then he deleted the tweet. Apparently, I don't know why he would do that. That was a pretty good tweet, but people are going in on him. And they should, because I remember when Stu was on the show, he said, this was in 2017, 2018, he said that the most disappointing thing with Tank Davis is how good he is. And that's was back then, by the way. He says how good he is, but he's not fighting anybody. And everything he's been saying is indicative of a guy who's unwilling to fight the best. Well, fast forward 6 years later, and not only has Tank Davis been regressing stylistically, but he's also even more adamant now about avoiding the best. So there are a few things out there more disappointing than wasted talent. I've said it before, I'll say it again. So it is what it is, man. Hopefully he gets his act together, but I doubt it.
Hey,
BDA, go ahead, Nerdsor.
I was gonna say, I just imagine that situation where Floyd's mad at Tank, and he's like, like someone telling their kid, I'm gonna call the Kukui. You want to act up? I got my phone right now. I'm calling Bob Arum. You gonna act up, Tank? I'm on the phone with him right now. What's up? You gonna listen, or you wanna make the fight? I'm making the Loma fight right now. Hello, Bob. You know what I mean? like a little kid. Like you'll tell him, I'm calling the Kukui. He's gonna come get you.
That's I think I saw I forget where I saw that one too, or something, a facsimile of that joke. But Gonzalo, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, like in Tank Davis's case, he was probably going to be at his best when he was on the younger side. I think he's 28 now, because if you think of a fighter similar in stature in relation to the division that he belonged, like Mike Tyson for a heavyweight, he was a smaller guy, but when he was on point for 5 years, he was on point. He did very good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look, that Pedraza fight, I gave him credit for the Pedraza
as
win,
well as he should have. He started like, yeah.
Sorry, because something fucked up here. Keep going.
No, it's true. Like for Tank Davis to really be successful now that he's 28, facing bigger guys, he's got to be like extremely disciplined, right? Mm-hmm. Because now he's getting slower, and yes, he does have power, but he's got to get on the inside against these taller men. And I made the comparison with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was successful very early on in his career when he was on point. It's an uphill battle for a short guy to succeed if he's not being extremely disciplined now that he's older.
That's a great point. Now, Never Sober, you going to say something? Because I want to piggyback off later of what Gonzalo said.
No, go ahead. I just wanted to make that joke.
Okay. Well, what's interesting about Tank Davis is his output in the ring is very low. And I know he keeps winning. I know he's undefeated. But, we said the same thing about Deontay Wilder not that long ago. When his fans were saying, yeah, but all he needs to do is hit you once and he knocks you out. Yeah, but then what happens if he can't knock you out? Can he turn it up? He did it against Barrios, but even that win is now tainted because Barrios let it slip out of the bag that there was a rehydration clause. Same thing against Ryan Garcia. That fight, I rewatched that fight recently, and it was much more competitive than I'd remembered, save for the knockdown, the second round knockdown. Ryan Garcia, he got up and kept pressing Tank Davis and was stabbing him. He wasn't hitting him with the flushes of shots, but he was stabbing him. And Tank Davis was throwing one shot at a time. And I'm thinking, if he fights a guy like Shakur Stevenson, for example, and let's say Shakur Stevenson starts, because again, remember what I said about Shakur Stevenson, southpaw versus southpaw, that jab comes out from Shakur Stevenson. And that I think that's how he would pile up the points against Tank Davis. So what would plan B be for Tank Davis? Because his fans seem to think that, well, right now he's fighting at 50%. And that's how he's beating these guys. And if he wants to, he can turn it up at 100%. But we saw what happened in Isaac Cruz. That fight was down to the wire. He tried to turn it up in the 6th or 7th round, and it didn't work, and he went back to running around the ring. So he can turn it up. This is the way he fights. There's not going to be, I'm telling the people this right off the bat, there's no miraculous power-up from Tank Davis where his hair is going to turn blonde and he's going to power up and go after these guys. No, this is what he is. This is what you've got. He fights in spurts, and that's because of his muscle fiber, I believe. He's one of those guys who's got fast twitch muscles, very explosive, but he trains the way he fights, one punch at a time, probably. That's his output. Yeah.
And honestly, too, Mr. BDA, it's because he's turning his weight. I said all the time, his training camps, half of them are fat camps. Dude shows in the camp so out of shape and overweight. I mean, dude, he's a professional boxer, right? I mean, I just can't even stress how harmful Drake is to a professional fighter, especially an elite professional fighter. You know what I mean? And he was so pie-eyed, so shit-faced at the fucking Super Bowl, he needed to be wheeled out. The fucking wheelchair. Remember the whole my ankle.
Yeah.
Remember that shit, dude? He had to be wheeled the fuck out of the Super Bowl with a stretch. Hey, with an army of fucking guys, they grabbed like 5 big dudes and they lined them across the front and they walked him out. And he's laughing, kind of talking to people, right? But they're not letting anybody get close to him. They didn't want probably somebody to say, "Hey, let me take a couple of questions." Because I fuck with my ankle. You know what I mean? Because he was wrecked. It's just because he's out. So think about they're up there going, fuck, how are we going to get? Because he can't even probably stand up to stand him up. He's, fuck you guys, falling to the ground and shit. So they had to fucking wheel him out. Right? That was it, though. You didn't hear nothing else about the ankle. For a professional athlete to have an ankle so injured that you can't even fucking half limp on it, you need a wheelchair, please.
Yeah, we never heard about that ankle again afterwards.
Nothing, right? Of course not, because he was fucking wasted.
But that's dangerous, though, because
it's not only that; it's the whole concept that Mayweather was trying to bring up and instill in all these fighters. Like it's about hitting and not getting hit. There's a life after boxing. Him and Andre Ward.
And it's a surprise Mayweather never drank, right? Think about that. One of the best conditioned athletes never drank, not a sip.
Yeah, he still got in trouble, by the way, outside the ring. So what was his excuse? But
no,
you know what?
I know he didn't need the booze to be a knucklehead, right? He had enough. Yeah. They call them dry alcoholics.
But that brings up another.
The only thing I kind of disagree with
you, BDA, that you mentioned that the way he trains.
Let me say this, man.
The way he trains.
That's the problem, though, Gonzalo. The drinking. That's what I want to get to. That is a career ender right there. I don't know how often he drinks, but I mean, hey, he got into a car accident because of drinking.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, drinking
Another
makes
thing, BDA, about the way he trains. Like in the mitts, you see him in his training sessions that he puts online, like he throws 1,000 punches, like he's all over the place. But when he goes in the ring, he only sparingly throws punches. So that's the only thing I kind of disagree with you. They train to look flashy on camera, but inside the ring, they hardly throw any punches.
And his fucking trainer's ready to have a heart attack because he's moving more than fucking Gervonta is. It's incredible. Yeah, I see those fucking that mat dancing they do there. That's funny. But then where's the times when like he's in line at that chicken, the fucking Chinese joint, his fucking stomach sticking all out and shit. Dude, every time the dude's out in public, he gets fucking wasted. I mean, he's a professional fighter. Listen, we just saw what it did to Spence. Why do you think Spence? He's not an idiot. Spence knows what it did to him. Why do you think the first podcast he did, he went in on fucking about how I was drunk and everything, even right after the accident and everything. He kept going on. But he knows what it did to him. It's the drinking. Listen, and it's done its damage. Like, that's the thing about that, too. It's done its damage. His footwork isn't going to come back. He's going to be just as left. It's going to be bad at 154. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're right, man. By the way, we've got, that Tank Davis thing where he stepped out of the stadium, well, didn't step out, he was rolled out on a wheelchair, and we never heard about the ankles again, but I mean, this is
being that fucked up, they roll your ass out.
Yeah,
I sent the video a couple of weeks ago. I sent the video in one of the Discords.
Well, I'll say this, though.
But just imagine being that tanked. Right? No pun intended.
Nah, no pun intended.
They have to roll your ass out.
Exactly, dude. Think about how drunk you've been and been able to walk out of a stadium. I mean, I've been fucking lit, right? Like I shouldn't be driving, but I can still walk the fuck out. So imagine you're that drunk that you can't even fucking stand up.
Yeah, I've been lit. The most that lit I've been is where you tongue, when you start.
That's a fucking problem, bro.
Yeah,
that's
what
I'm
saying.
Exactly.
It's a big problem. And I'll say this, man. There was a guy on Joe Rogan's podcast 10 years ago. It was a big kickboxing guy. He'd been retired for a while. He was training fighters. He said something very poignant. He said, what I tell the guys that I'm coaching nowadays is, look, you're 25. Your career window is really short. It goes for most athletes out there, whether it's NFL, NBA, whatever. You have at about 35. After 31, that's when you start declining physically. Most people. Some are different, obviously, but across the board, usually it's after 31, you're no longer going to be as fast and physically fit as you were before. And what this guy would tell his fighters is, look, you got about 10, 15 years, and then afterwards, once you retire, you'll be in your late 30s, early 40s. You're still young. Now you can relax. Now you can party. But for 10, 15 years, you got to grind it out. You gotta put in the work. And then later. But a lot of these guys don't act that way. And I understand it's difficult to do so. I mean, again, some of these guys, they're fighters. They're not lifelong planners. They want to live in the moment. They want to live their lives. They want to have a little fun. But you see the guys that last. Floyd Mayweather, yeah, he would party, but you wouldn't ever see him shit-faced or coked out of his to the gills. Alexander Usyk, You never hear this guy tales about how he got into a street fight or he got into it at the nightclub with the bouncers. These guys are the utmost perfect. Same goes for Terrence Crawford, another guy, and Naoya Inoue. These guys, there's a reason why they're at the top is because they have to be consistent. They have to be all around 24 hours a day, 365 days a week, a year athletes. There's no ifs and buts about it. And you know what? I'll say one final thing about that. If that were easy, you'd see most guys succeed. The fact that it's not just goes to show you that, there's a reason why guys like Tank Davis, they can't reach the top. He's one of the best lightweights.
When you get an athlete that
Excellent point.
Drive, they have that discipline.
Yeah. And Crawford talks about it when he was a teenager. When guys would be going to get shit-faced, he said, fucking go to the gym. And he would tell himself this is going to all pay out in the end. And he did it right through his, I go out, my boys are all getting wrecked, man. I can't. I just can't. And it's a hard thing to do. I'm not fucking, it's not an easy thing to do. But once you got the taste, I'm telling you, your body can only take so many of those wrecks. When you get that hammered, you know what I mean? And he's obviously doing it enough. So, yeah, of course. That's why he's slow and he's throwing one punch at a time. He's looking to just catch people with one punch like he did with Garcia, and the same thing with Rolly. I mean, you just look at the way he fought when he fought Pedraza. Lightning quick, springy, right? Reflective and just fast. And now it's not there. I mean, he's a talented kid. He's a good boxer. He's got some power and shit.
You know what?
But there's a reason they're avoiding all the top guys.
He's starting to look
himself out of that shit.
He's starting to look older too. I've been looking at him. I'm like, yeah, well, this guy's starting to look old. He's starting to look like he could be in his 30s, and this guy's still in his 20s. And when I say 30s, I'm talking about from, if you told me he was anywhere from early 30s to mid 30s, I'd be like, yeah. But you're 27, 28, whatever age you are, you should be looking like that. You should be looking younger than what you look. If you would take care of yourself, people would confuse you for like a guy in their early 20s, but you're not doing that. So you're starting to look like floppy. You're starting to look like an old man.
I got to tell you,
that
that's
was
a shame.
the excuse for punching the dude too, Mr. BDA, for punching that kid in the fucking chest, the parking lot attendant. He had a wicked hangover going on. It was the next morning coming out of a fucking bar. Bars in New York are open till fucking just about the sun comes up. So he probably went to a hotel, come down and get his car, slept it off just enough to drive. And, I mean, shit, that was the excuse he gave. He was wicked hungover.
Well, listen, if he's that drunk, again, it's ask Julio Chavez was an unstoppable force in his prime. And then he got with the drinking, and all of a sudden he started getting cuts. Yeah, he would get cut in the ring because it thins the skin. So Tank Davis has a contemporary in Errol Spence and Adrian Broner. I think they were more than friends, if you catch my drift. But anyway, he's very familiar with Adrian Broner. And you see what happened with Adrian Broner, showing up shit-faced to a podcast, really looking sad. A cautionary tale if there ever was one. So he should look up to, she should look at those guys and take caution. But anyway, I wanted to bring this up too, changing gears here a little bit. Did you guys hear about their Fury and Ngannou numbers? Apparently in the US. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought I was muted.
Go ahead, man, go ahead.
Oh, no, go, finish, brother.
I did. Apparently they did horrible in the US, and I don't know about the England, the UK, but apparently it only did 56,000 pay-per-view buys on ESPN. On the ESPN.
What fight was that?
That's the Usyk Ngannou fight. And remember I said
Fury
that? When people talk about he's going to make millions of dollars off this, I said, why? Ngannou wasn't a big fucking ticket draw when he was at the UFC. And if you look what's happened with all these guys, they're getting fucking slept by YouTubers. Most people going in thought Tyson Fury was going to make him look doofus, right? But because he didn't, right now, I think if the second one would actually sell because we were like, wow, what the fuck? But nobody thought, Fury, not that I credit him for, making the most boring fight I've ever seen with fucking Klitschko. And he had some exciting times with Wilder, but it's Wilder. But from that, how people took that and fucking launched him into the greatest of all time. Like, I couldn't even go on Twitter for weeks because I would go, I'm like, oh, fuck out of here. Couldn't say anything. You make just a slight, and his fans would just be a fucking 3-foot thread of telling you how much of a fucking moron you are. because you don't think he's the greatest fucking heavyweight of all time, as they're bashing Ali. It was insane. It was worse. I'll tell you right now, worse than anything I ever got from Wilder fans. So, little karma, fucking trailer park trash.
I mean, look,
shit they say.
When the whole
his
thing,
father's a buffoon too, man. His father's
fucking
a
shit
nut job.
they say.
When the
fucking
whole
hypocritics. Yeah.
When the whole Fury Usyk negotiations were likely rough were occurring in 2022 and 2023 rather, I held my tongue. I was like, a lot of people are going after Tyson Fury and said, let's wait and see. Because again, I've heard this song and dance before. I've people negotiate, he doesn't want to fight, and then the fight ends up happening. But yeah, Fury really did shoot himself in the foot by stalling the negotiations with Usyk, and then the Ngannou debacle. In other words, almost everything that could have gone wrong sort of did, except for the fact
after the Ngannou fight, I think I would take Usyk to beat him pretty comfortably.
Absolutely. Well, I was picking Usyk before that for sure. I said Usyk would beat Fury. I just know it because he doesn't have the fucking conditioning. It's past him now. He's made the money. He's at his age. You can just tell he doesn't have the will and nobody around him to make him do it. He's not going to push himself like that. You see the conditioning he showed up in? Holy fucking shit. He might have been doing a little road work. Yeah, but dude, if you look at that second Wilder fight, though, he did a couple of muscle crab poses, and he had muscles. You could see the top part of his abs, his upper chest, his shoulder delts. It was separation.
He's building an excuse too. He's leaving a little trail. So, like, if he goes into the fight and he happens to lose to Usyk, he'll be like, me heart. You know how he talks. Me heart wasn't in it. I'm not into boxing anymore. That I'm not the same person. So he's like, I feel like he's trying to manipulate the situation. Like,
that's all he does, brother. It's the perfect word, manipulate. That's what he did with the fucking whole. Remember, he had that life and death boring match with Klitschko. Instead of rematching him, what did he do? Became a fat cokehead, literally. Like some shit, just like threw it all away. Mental health issues. Okay, I'm not dogging it. Maybe did. I think it's also mental health issues brought on by snorting kilos of cocaine and one fucking being up a days and thinking about killing yourself in your car. So okay, then listen. The reason why, and it's all karma all around because then Wilder picked him because he was a fat, out of shape cokehead and what did Wilder call him? Pillow fisted. Doesn't have any punching power. That was right down Wilder's alley. And he lost that first fight, but they gave it a draw, and we all saw what happened after that. But so it's all cherry picking gone wrong. And he avoided Usyk because he wanted to take that Ngannou fight and bankroll it, thinking he was going to make this fucking humongous money. Bullshit. That was all heavily laden on pay-per-view sales. Nobody gave him fucking $30 million up front or whatever I've heard people say. Bullshit.
I'll say this, man. I liked Fury because he did make improvement. He did improve under what's his name, Sugar Hill, because that right hand
for
before,
one fight.
He would slap with that right hand, and then in the rematch, in the Wilder rematch, you saw him straighten it out. So I give him credit for that. That being said, right now he's standing with the boxing community, with boxing fans, is at an all-time low. There is a solution to all this. He needs to fight Usyk. And now I don't think he beats him, but again, I don't have a crystal ball. Maybe he does. Hey, I don't know. But what I'm saying is he's got a chance to redeem himself. No more fucking around. Yes. No more, I'm going to retire. I'm telling you, if he retires right now and then comes back later on, it's people are going to will have had it with the dude. He cannot do. He needs to fight Usyk.
You know
what I'm saying? Real quick. What I'm saying is this. Even if he loses to Usyk in the next, that's much better than if he retires now and avoids Usyk. You know what I mean?
No, I 100% agree. But his words are becoming white noise. That's all it is. When he calls people dossers now and this and this and that, even when he does his little stare down and clown tactics, it's becoming dull, man. Like, I saw him looking at Usyk. I saw Usyk looking at him like, you're like, of course he's not going to say that out loud, but you could see in his face. I felt like he was saying in his mind, you're a fucking clown. Like, I don't even respect you anymore.
Did you see him walk up to Usyk out in a parking garage last week or the week of the fight? I think maybe the day before the fight with Ngannou. He walked right into him. He was coming out of a hotel, looked like a front of a hotel, and he walked right into him and his entourage. I mean, Usyk, Fury tried to be jokey with him and shit, and Usyk was just staring right him in the face, and then wrapped his hands around him and lifted him up in the air. Like, just fuck, I'm telling you, he's a strong dude. And, oh, yeah, you can tell Usyk wants to beat his ass from the shit that dude said, all the shit that dude talked. Listen, even with this fight, he said he was going to sue Usyk if he didn't fight him this December. I think something along those lines. This fight's happening this December, blah, blah. Well, even right after the Ngannou fight, maybe next February. Like, wait a minute, you were just talking about suing him. He pulled that same shit with Josh. Remember, you have to have this contract. Fucking, you have to, take it. And then Joshua fucking called his bluff. And he still fucking back down.
That's another thing, too. I don't think he really wants to fight Joshua either. I don't think he's confident he can beat Joshua.
I mean, that's what people
if you're not
saying.
Intimidated by his feints, because he's fidgety.
Right.
You could see that he's very limited, man. He's not like this insanely fucking what's the word you use the other?
Gonzalo, what happens if AJ doesn't bite on the feint? What happens in that fight?
He pretty much walks him down just to win Ngannou, but fucking AJ hits hard with both hands. He can set up his punches better.
Yep.
All I'll say is
right in his
man.
chest.
Yeah, all I'll say is this: Fury has there's a chance for redemption, and that the only way he can do that is if he fights Usyk. If he avoids him now, he'll never live it down. So at this point, it's better. It's less of a risk to lose. It's better for him to lose against Usyk. I mean, if that happens, but it'll be less damaging than if he avoids Usyk altogether. That goes without saying, but that's the way he needs to understand it.
He's he's got a contract to fight Ngannou again, right? Doesn't he have they both had a rematch clause?
That's stupid.
Not sure about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure they had. I'm pretty sure.
He's not as versatile as people make him out to be. He's got fast feet, footwork for a tall man, but in comparison to like a smaller heavyweight, the smaller heavyweight probably got quicker feet than him. Just that he's so big, they say, oh, he's super fucking fast. But not compared to a smaller, more nimble guy that's also a heavyweight, maybe around 6'3" dude that weighs about 230 pounds. That would be Usyk, actually.
Well, we'll see what happens with that fight. I mean, we're talking about a fight that might not happen. So, by the way, some people are calling in. I don't even know if it's because then I hear 5 minutes left in the phone calls and the voice comes out. 5 minutes. Shut up. Let's see if we can get through them quickly. All right, 646. We're running out of time here. 646, you're on the air. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up? How you doing, Mr. BBA? Sophie Casual here, brother. Listen, first of all, I can't hear what the other. I can't hear the entirety of your show over the phone. All I can hear is when you talk, and right now it just feels like it's like nobody's over there. So it's like I'm talking to myself, but I'm just going to speak. As far as Fury's concerned, Fury's going to beat Usyk. A lot of people are going crazy over this and his performance upon Ngannou. I'm a guy who didn't see the fight, had no interest in the fight, and that's what I find so amazing about hardcore fans. Hardcore fans, first they shit all over the fight for taking place, then they can't stop talking about it now that it's over. And I'm like on Twitter, I'm like, bro, why are you talking about this fight that you didn't even want to see? You're talking this fight into a rematch because you're making a big deal over Fury showing up out of shape and whatever, and the poor performance against Ngannou. Who gives a crap? As far as him ducking Usyk, the fight is signed, right? He made a whole ton of money. The fight didn't sell in the USA. So what? It would have been a bigger fight had Ngannou still been with UFC, because then it would have had UFC's backing, and maybe they would have been pushing it, and Dana White involved. It would have been kind of like the McGregor and Mayweather level because of Dana White's presence and backing. But when Ngannou was out of sight, out of mind for quite a while, so that didn't help either. But that's neither here nor there. Point is that if you're a hardcore boxing fan, why are you tripping over this fight? That's just mind-boggling to me. As far I wanted to say about Lindolfo Delgado, and because I know part of your show is about whether these guys are hype jobs, Lindolfo Delgado and Murataya and I don't know who else was Ajagba. So, well, it's not so much Lindolfo Lozado, but I'm gonna tell you this: that guy looks beautiful to watch. I mean, balanced. It was a fight that he's definitely more polished than the guy he fought. The guy was a wide puncher, but he'd never been knocked out, and he did have power. And either way, it's like he ducks punches
90 seconds
by inches. It's like a technician, and that uppercut that he delivered and knocked him out with, stunned him to set up the whole knockout, came about because he had been going to the liver, and the guy was used to him making that movement of him going to the liver. All of a sudden, he does the same movement as if he's going to the liver. Boom, and shot that uppercut. It was so beautiful, man.
60 seconds.
He was going to the body shot. He was going for the body shot with that same left hand to the body, and he just shot it right up to the uppercut. What were you going to say? Because I can't really hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. We're having connection issues. But real quick, you brought up the Fury thing. You're saying, why do people care about the Ngannou fight? It's the general feeling that I'm getting from the general feeling that I'm getting from the rest of boxing fan is that it's a bad look. It puts a damper on the performance on the future Fury Usyk fight because the guy's trolling against a novice caller.
No, it doesn't.
So okay, but that's how you feel.
Say that again?
I'm just telling you, most people feel that it puts a damper on the performance because he struggled against a novice.
So what? He struggled against Sefik Safari.
10 seconds.
Wilder. It's like everybody's acting like he just hasn't done this before. It's the craziest thing in the world.
You bring up a good point, but it's a difference struggling. There's a difference between struggling with a guy like Wilder, who's at least a professional boxer, and a guy who's never boxed before as a professional.
So what?
All right, well, listen.
The point is that we're getting the fight that we want. The fight we wanted is the Usyk fight. Judge him on that.
Well, do you think that fight happens, by the way?
Judge him
because
on
it's
that.
not the. Well, let me ask you this, caller. Do you think this fight happens? Because it wouldn't be the first time Fury, even if there is a binding contract, wouldn't be the first time that he gets out of it.
It's going to happen because he's not going to walk. That's the other thing. Hardcore boxing fans are always making a mountain out of a molehill. Let me tell you something. As far as Jimmy, and I love the guy. I think that the guy knows his boxing. He's definitely been in the ring before. He's that tough North England, New England accent. The whole thing is like textbook's like a movie when he talks. You know what I mean? It's like he reminds me of a movie character. But here, the thing is that this fucking guy and his shit and it's crazy. I love his character. But here it is. Bottom line is that hardcore boxing fans can't see beyond their own vision. It's like horses that have what they call that thing, the visor they can't see to the side in the trolley races. That's how boxing fans are, and they can't see beyond anything. For example, I called your show prior to the Ryan Garcia and Tank fight. I don't know if you remember the phone call. But I was waiting for my son to come out of school, and you guys were going on and on and on about whether the Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis is going to do big numbers, and Jimmy right away. Well, Tank doesn't sell another 200. That fucking piece of shit, and Ryan Garcia just a bunch of fags. It's like the fight ain't going to sell. Fight, and I called it and said, no, man. Ryan Garcia is going to bring a whole new element to who's going to be buying, and the reason you guys can't connect to that is because you can't see outside of a hardcore fan. You can't relate to the fact that the people that are going to be actually ordering that fight are going to be little kids who are going to tell their parents to buy that fight. And you guys, So that's
let me get this straight. Let me get this straight then. Because now, okay, so you're saying that I don't know if Jimmy said that. I don't remember him saying that the fight was going to be a pay-per-view.
Yeah, he did.
All right.
I'm sitting in the
Jimmy,
car.
Jimmy, I want to see if you can. I don't even know if you can hear Jimmy. Jimmy, are you there?
I can't hear anybody but you, my brother.
Fuck. Hold on a second.
I could only go by what Davis has done. And out of his 5 pay-per-views, as he knows, that's the filthy casual. He's actually a good dude. He's on Twitter. But anyways, I said he never sold only one with Rolly that did over 200,000. So we know he has a fucking ceiling because that's pretty much it. It's around 200 because fucking Showtime boss let that slip on a live. So we know that. And I said, I don't know how much Garcia is going to bring in. I said, if it's anything like what his Instagram is, how it's up in the air. We don't know. But clearly, majority of that was brought in because of what Garcia was bringing in.
All right, but
and then
okay,
the two of them combined.
All right, but Filthy, do me a favor. Let's keep this conversation for another time. I just wanted to let Jimmy clarify that. But again, I want to get back to the Fury thing. So let me just get this straight. Then,
Go ahead.
I do agree, though, that sometimes hardcore boxing fans, we tend to be too reactionary. And not for nothing, but I do agree with your point that Fury, even though I don't think that one of the world titleists should be struggling against a guy of Ngannou's level, to Fury's credit, and it's not an excuse, it is what it is. I don't care what he says. I don't care if he says he trained for 12 weeks, 14 weeks, a whole year. The guy showed up in the worst shape I've ever seen, 277.7 pounds. And that's about the same way that he showed up for the Wilder fight, the third one. And he looked horrible in that one too. But I'll say this, though. I want to ask you. So are you telling me that an in-shape Fury beats Usyk? Is that what you're going with?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. So you're holding the line.
I can't really argue. To the fight happens.
Listen.
There's a very good chance that he could beat him.
I'm telling you right now, I'm the filthy casual. Y'all can kill me on Twitter later on. He's going to make it look easy. He's going to make it look easy.
Interesting.
All right.
Man,
the other thing, this is what I wanted to address with you. Because the thing is that the fight with Klitschko, the Klitschko, I saw that fight, right? And it was boring. And let me tell you something that for years I used to think, the boring fight and Fury, this and that. You know what? I rewatched that shit, and believe me, I hate when people say, I rewatched it, and because it's like, fuck it, what? You had it right the first time, But the truth is, time out. The truth is, it wasn't Fury who made that fight boring. It was Klitschko who was holding. And you know that he has a history of holding. That was Klitschko's shit. Klitschko, there was a point that he was just getting hit too easy and he didn't know what to do. He would hold. It wasn't on Fury that he didn't that fight was boring. He did what he was supposed to do. And there was a shot that he threw at Klitschko, that after he hit him with that shot, it's like when he puts his left hand out and he kind of like throws like a circle hook type thing that only Fury throws that punch. It's like he throws it from a real wide, and he hit him like bam, and Klitschko reacted like, oh shit, like this dude just hit me with that, and then he started making a clinch fest. It was on Klitschko, And this negotiation, the thing that I hate about the Usyk thing, and I love Usyk, I really do. But the thing that people give him a pass, because here's the thing. The first date was delayed because Usyk wasn't ready for that December. Then if you look through the negotiations patterns, you'll realize that Usyk did not have a promoter in place. He then signed with the Arabs and whatever. He's not down with the same people no more, except for the Alex Classic guy. I'm not sure that K2 Promotions is with him anymore because he just signed a new deal. So the thing that I'm saying is that clearly what made this negotiation go smoothly this time around is that Usyk found himself on the canvas against Dubois and saw all the money go out the fucking window. That he got another mandatory against Hrgovic that was about to get due. Right now he's got a promoter. He's like, man, I can't fuck around no more. I got to take the deal on the table.
Wait. So you're saying that it's on? You're crediting. So let me just get this. You're crediting Fury for making this fight happen.
Is this line legal?
No, this is filthy
casual. Say that again?
No, somebody. No, anyway, listen. The point is this. Look, listen. I'd rather be Usyk getting low blowed I'd rather be Usyk getting dropped to the canvas by a low blow than to look almost loose against a novice. But again, hey, listen. I've said it before. Fury did show up out of shape. So I can give him a bit of a pass, not a big pass, that's for sure. Taking some points away from that, he's on parole as far as I'm concerned. But like I said, I do think the fight's happening next year. I hope Fury doesn't pull out any surprises, and we'll see what happens. That's all we can do. But yeah, okay, Filthy. One last thing, because then we got to move on, man. That's another person on the line. But
go ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Last comment from you, because we got to move on here.
No, that's it. I'm over, man. Thank you for your show. Your show is wonderful as over, my brother. As always.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Peace. I'm out.
Fury was acting like he wanted to fight on the 23rd of December. Now he don't want to fight. He might want to fight in February or March. Like, what's up, bro?
Yeah, I mean, listen. Hey, look. I don't have a crystal ball. Fury is a big dude, but after almost losing to a novice, I mean, that jab was non-existent. Yeah, I don't care how out of shape you are. You can still jab. And
you know what, BDA? I actually heard an interview with Usyk, and he was talking about, I hope Fury gets through his next fight quickly so we can finally have our fight. I think this fool's going to have another tune-up, bro.
Interesting.
He was talking about Fury.
Well, here's the thing. Of course, Fury is saying, no, there isn't one. But I can post it in the thing. It says Francis Ngannou has a rematch clause by Jake Timmon. Tyson Fury 10-round fight with Francis has a rematch clause involved in the bout next month, October 28th. It says Riyadh. And then Fury, although Fury said last week there isn't a rematch clause, and apparently there is, and it's understandable why he's saying so. But anyways, I can post that article.
That is outrageous, but hey, listen, hopefully Fury does the right thing. By us boxing fans, the guys are paying his bills, and he actually ends up fighting Usyk.
You know, BDA, you know how boring that fight with Klitschko was?
How boring was it?
It was. They said it was the worst in history.
When he was explaining it, I was falling asleep.
That's a good.
Didn't John Fury's old man fucking?
Come on, Jimmy, you got to respect that joke a little bit, man. Come on.
Well, no, he was supposed to pay somebody. Wasn't he supposed to pay money or something? Like he bet that, or it was something where, I'll do this if my son doesn't knock out Jake Paul, and his son didn't knock out Jake Paul but now he's a full-time YouTube fighter.
Yeah, his father really. I mean, it's time for Tyson to put. It's time for Tyson to put John. It's time for Tyson to put John in the home. Because that guy's getting out of control.
BDA, I don't know much about Tommy Fury, but he can't even knock out or knock down part-time like dudes that are just like real novice fighters. Like
they're novices.
The last guy he fought is another fucking YouTuber. You know, like I heard he's pretty. Don't mind me. I don't know who these fucking guys are. But the last guy he fought. He's a black dude. He's like another YouTube influencer from the way I understand it. So
that's how recognized
these guys are bigger novices than Ngannou.
That's how Recognize used to do it. That's how Recognize used to do it in Queens. With the Puerto Ricans, they don't even say the black guy's name. They just go El Negro Este. Right? Recognize? That's what you just did. It's KSI. It's KSI. That's the guy he fought. Put a little respect on the guy's name. No, but listen, you're right, man. It seems like the Furies have a lot of trouble with part-time boxers. Maybe Tyson Fury should stay away from John Jones as well. I don't know. We got another phone call here. Last of the night because the phone lines are closed. 323, you're on the air. 323.
Hey, what's up? Me estoy tomando unas chelas y me estoy chingando unos tacos de barbacoa. But I gotta say this, bro. Fuck that Tyson Fury motherfucker, man. I have never bought that motherfucker. I mean, listen, what's more putrid, his career or his dad? I don't know. They're fucking even on the scale to me. That fucking dad coming in with the shirt off, at the face off, like, hey, I'm gonna fuck you up with the shirt off and his fucking man tits hanging out and shit. Fuck, what the fuck is that, bro? Anyway, that last caller, I was gonna call horse shit, but he made some good points. The only good point he made was that Tyson Fury and fucking Klitschko fight was I brought a pillow. I had a fucking little pillow and my little fucking blanket right there, and I was just like, is it over? But I gotta tell you guys, man, I got Usyk winning. I've had Usyk winning, and this is why. A low-level guy like Otto Wallin gave a left-hander gave Tyson Fury fucking trouble. And made it dirty. Went out of his character to make that shit dirty. What do you think a skilled fucking left-hander is going to do to fucking Tyson Fury? I'm sorry, but I still have Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury has not solidified his position as a top elite heavyweight. He hasn't. He just hasn't. Knocking out some fucking dipshit like Wilder doesn't prove anything.
All right, first of all,
Okay.
I
He
agree with
does-
that, but the language. One last warning: the language, please. It's getting out of control. But go ahead.
That cunt motherfucker has not solidified his motherfucking horseshit position as a fucking champion. And I'm telling you right now,
Let me ask you this.
he hasn't. All of you, listen.
yeah, okay.
Listen. Most of the audience here, and all of you guys in the panel would have to.
I'm gonna censor you, man. Hey,
Cunt,
look, you think this is a joke?
fuck,
You think this is a
cunt,
joke?
fuck,
there you go.
fuck in the ass. Fill the asshole full of cunt, full of
I don't know
cum.
why this guy thinks. I don't know why
Shoot
Domagas
some
thinks
loads.
it's a joke. Hey, I hope there's those fucking that taco meat
Fucking
has
dip some
parasites. I
balls
hope
in it.
those tacos you're eating have parasites in them, and you fucking lose your ability to speak. Maybe that'll teach you a lesson.
No mames, cabrón.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, listen, seriously, that motherfucker has not. Listen, listen. None of you fucking guys on the panel, could wholeheartedly say that Tyson Fury has solidified his position as a top elite heavyweight. None of you guys. I know none of you guys can, and I know none of the sensible audience and callers can do that either. There's no fucking conceivable way.
Beating
this guy
Klitschko and
has proved
beating
himself.
Wilder does, bro.
Okay, beating
And
Klitschko
why-
in a snooze fest is one thing, okay? And I can give him that because he was... But, dude, how could you... Beating
Don
fucking
Margassos,
Wilder, fighting
I'll say this.
Chisora 3 times,
'Cause I get
fighting
what you-
Dillian White 2 times.
Yeah, Don
like-
Margassos, I get what you're saying, because I've said it before too, is look, by virtue of his accomplishments, he does belong in the top 3 position of the best heavyweights. But, like you said,
Fuck no, he doesn't.
But hold on.
What the fuck?
Let me finish.
Hold on.
I get what you're saying, that, okay, he beat Klitschko, but then you got to factor in, how did he beat him? He barely beat him. That's a fight that when he was going to go to the scorecards, I remember thinking, oh, they're going to give it to Klitschko. Because there was nothing happening. It's a fight that they could have easily given to in Germany.
Course.
They could have given it to Klitschko. And then, like you said, the Dillian White fight. Okay, I give him credit for knocking him out with a uppercut, but there was way too many clinching going on in that fight. Otto Wallin, he almost lost that one. So
yeah, but
again,
not to mention that who was that Russian cat, that the guy who retired, I forget his name. He caught him with that clean uppercut. Dillian White. Dillian White was already damaged goods, bro. Dillian White was like fragile. He was walking in there like a fragile piece of glass.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm agreeing with you. I've never said Tyson Fury was the best, but I did say that he had to fight Usyk, and Usyk has to fight him to solidify the whole thing. Listen, I got OCD. I want to see this fight happen, not just because it's some sort of a moral thing that has to happen. It's because if it doesn't, I'm going to go nuts or even more crazier than I am. The one thing I will say, I'd rather have OCD than to have potty mouth syndrome, which you clearly have, my friend. So you got to get right with the Lord. You got to stop doing the whole toilet mouth. I'm going to find out where you live, and I'm going to send you a box of soap that you
The
gotta put in your
Lord
mouth.
Jesus fucking Christ gave me the mouth to talk the way I fucking
All right,
do.
I'm gonna hang up
and
on
all
you.
I gotta
I'm gonna
say
hang
is
up on you.
Usyk
I'm hanging
is
up on
gonna
you.
blow a big
I'm
fucking
hanging
fat
up on
wad in.
Hang up on
I
him.
hung up.
Hang up on him.
This is
I
disgusting.
love when you do that, BDA. Let me
It's
tell you something,
absolutely
BDA.
disgusting.
When you hang up on people, classic.
You know, hey, this is going to be Don Maradasso's next episode.
I'm really drunk. Really, I am. I'm out of my head.
That's the excuse he's going to use. I was drunk. I didn't mean it.
You know what, BDA? I'm gonna get off the panel and I'm gonna call and I'm gonna act belligerent and I'm gonna pretend not to be me, and I want just so you can kick me off. I want to see you do it.
I mean, like I said earlier, that type of vile, vulgar, and it's even violent language, by the way. It's violent language. And some people are going to say, BD, I thought you said words were just words. Yeah, but not on the day of our Lord. On a Sunday? Come on. Let's keep it classy.
On Sunday.
Yeah, boxing
else,
is
man?
toxic, man. It does get people riled up for some reason. The best of
Damn rich cunt.
Well, it's because everybody here, people call in the real fans, and you get passionate when you talk about boxing, bro.
Yeah. I mean, if this was a type of show where people are playing porn songs and all that, I'd get it with the language, but it is a classy show. All right, now, I want to say something else here before we go. I'm getting ready for a second latrine break here. Did you guys hear this? This from, again, PBC revolving... I know, man. I got to check my... Anyway, people have been saying that.
Can I pose a question?
Well, I'm reading here. What's the question?
Oh, my bad. I want to say what y'all gonna think about Tyson Fury if he takes another fight before he fights Usyk.
Oh, that's gonna drive people nuts.
Whatever. I'll be like, whatever.
For real? This gonna be a bullshit, bro.
I mean, I don't mean like whatever. Like I'm happy with it. I mean like whatever. Like
Thank you
I'm
for
not
using.
surprised. Hey, lady, don't cut me off when I'm talking.
I mean, yeah, that's I don't know. We should get Don Madrazo to call in, call her a
Belongs to the
cunt.
streets.
Yeah, we need to get Don Madrazo in to call in and call her a cunt. But look, listen, yeah, no, if that fight, if he takes a tune-up, people aren't going to have it. They're going to say, oh, he's stalling, he doesn't want to fight him. So he needs to fight Usyk now, man. A loss won't be as bad as him delaying the fight again. That's all I'm saying. I wanted to ask you this, guys, because Amazon, people are talking about PBC with Amazon. Then there was a rumor earlier this week that Netflix was gonna, the PBC and the Netflix were gonna partner up. Rick Glazier on Twitter said this. He said, being told by two solid sources in the know that this PBC to Netflix isn't true, as Heyman/PBC operatives floated this in an attempt to make a better deal with Amazon Prime. The Amazon deal is no money or guarantees, strictly pay-per-view distribution and marketing, and that's not a good deal. The fighters will find that out in the first quarter of 2024, that there's no money any longer at the PBC. I'll leave you with that, guys, and I'll be right back. I'll be listening, by the way, so watch the salty language.
I would be interested to find out how Amazon Prime is doing with the NFL. Right? So NFL being the most in other words, is the NFL happy and is Amazon Prime happy as well? And if they are, I wouldn't go by that because the NFL is the most popular sport in America, right? So
Well, there's another one. There's another metric you can go by because ONE FC, when they have big fights, they're on Amazon Prime, and they've been bouncing around from different networks too. They're from they're the biggest MMA organization in Asia, and they were on TNT. I think they were on FX. You know, and they've been on Amazon Prime a couple times with their bigger cards. And you know, I think if you can look at the ratings for that, if we could find a way to find the ratings for that, maybe it could be comparable to what maybe boxing can do, because it's just combat sports. You know what I mean?
because like baseball does it too, but they don't. I don't think in terms of the amount of games played in baseball and how many of those are only Amazon Prime. I was curious to see how that rating does too, right? Because it looks like it's lower than the NFL in terms of percentage, right? Of games that are played on Amazon Prime. So I'm just curious because that sounds like it'll be a disaster for boxing, not just Al Heyman. I'm just talking about boxing, period.
Well, if it's pay-per-view only, bro, it's not gonna work. It's gonna for a lot of these guys, you know. So, or they're gonna have to really stack these cards. So maybe PBC will come with some heat.
Well, yeah.
In order to try to make some money.
Maybe Al Heyman's like, yo, I'm about to do these guys. The guys that he has his hands on, they're all getting older, like the majority of them. So maybe
he's ready to sacrifice them. He's already sacrificed
them. Do a fire sale. He's gonna be like, all right, you know, fucking. I threw Spence to Crawford. I threw Wilder to Fury. You know, I'm gonna start doing the other guys the same way.
Well, you know, that's interesting, though, because Glacier's been saying that it's a distribution deal with Amazon and that it's pay-per-view. Meaning, because the PBC hopefuls were saying, oh, man, this is going to be great because I got Amazon Video and Prime, and so I'm going to be able to watch the fights. But apparently, this is an add-on, meaning, yeah, you're paying for Amazon Prime, then you got to pay. It's like with ESPN Plus when they do a pay-per-view or the zone. You're paying for the basic app, but now they'll make this premium marquee pay-per-view fights. That's what I understand. I don't know. It's yet to be clarified. But if it is a pay-per-view thing, meaning you got to pay extra on top of that, that sort of throws cold water on the whole optimism thing there. But I hope it's not. Look, listen. I hope it's a straight-up deal with Amazon, and you don't have to pay extra, because that's more boxing for me. Even though the PBC's been mucking it up with bad fights, At least they don't go out of business completely, which maybe they should, just for the better, the bigger good or whatever. But I don't know. It's interesting to see where this goes, and I wouldn't be surprised if what Glacier is saying is true, that they threw out this Netflix thing, because that's the way they were negotiating. If you remember, when they would hold a negotiation between two guys, one PBC guy and one non-PBC guy, and then all of a sudden they would say, "Well, we're also looking to fight this guy," and it wouldn't be true. Or we received an offer from this other fighter, fighter C. And that way, fighter B would go, "Oh, wait a minute, they already got another offer? Shit, I better, step it up and act." Right.
Mr. BDA, the thing with Heyman, one of his negotiation tools he always had in the past, especially when he was working with multiple networks. "Oh, listen, you should take this fight, man. This is the fight you guys want. I could go to Showtime, or Fox will definitely take it, Steve." I mean, those days are gone. That dude's burned more fucking bridges than the bomb in the Lisburn. That fucking shit's done. You know what I mean? So he's fucked. He's lying. There's no fucking Netflix isn't going to give him a budget to put on fights. I mean, he's got. Unfortunately for him, they'll do something like Go on the Line and see what he's done for numbers. It's just ridiculous. I don't see how that's going to happen.
Yeah, because look, here's another thing Glacier said weeks ago. We talked about it when he said the same lawyer, entertainment lawyer, that gives him the numbers, the inside scoop on the real Showtime pay-per-view numbers, also told him that Heyman's name right now is solid. People know the score. It's not like the old days where he could go to a new network and say, "Hey, listen, I got these people willing to invest money into me, for $500 million, therefore I know what I'm doing," and they would buy that on credit. Now it's over. He's gone through networks like a knife through hot butter, like a hot knife through butter. Fuck, I fucked it up. And by the way, I'm Your Leader says, shout out to, I'm trying to cover it up. Shout out to I'm Your Leader for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Amazon said they will only do pay-per-view fights. They are not willing to give Heyman any money. PBC, of course, doesn't want this deal. PBC is screwed. And you know what happened? Recognize I did that Rappaport thing. Remember when he said, it's like Mike Tyson, the great Mike Tyson said, "I'll fuck you in the ass until you love me." I'll fuck you until I love you. I was like, he fucked it up. And that's what I did. But shout out to I Am Your Leader.
In the ass until I like it. You like it.
What an idiot. But shout out to I Am Your Leader. That's what I'm getting to I Am Your Leader. That's what he's saying. That's what Rick Glacier is saying too, that he's screwed. No one's going to give him money anymore. He's got to put up his own money now. Yeah.
I mean, he burned through $750 million of retiree money. Most of the fucking people, you go to the Waddell and Reed, they used to put up like the demographics, the age group. It's mostly retired people's money, all Midwest, mostly Midwest too, and he burned through it all. The valuation of that particular hedge fund last quarter was put out, and the guy, he's great on Twitter. I'll see if I can remember his name. Put it out there, and it was 0.00. It's worthless, completely written off. They try to sue him, and I don't know if that's been settled. I know they opened up a case in Oklahoma where it was taken out, the loan or the hedge for they were suing him for fiduciary duty and a couple other things. He just never paid back a dime. It was
it's
almost
like
$750 million.
It's like an Animal House 0.0. I mean, that's
zero, yeah. So, it's got to be somebody who lost money, who's related to people in like Hollywood and investment world. Yeah, you can't just, you leave a track record behind you. Then there's other things. He's involved with the fucking ticket scam. Are you kidding me? Like that's what he's doing. He's buying up tickets with Floyd Mayweather. They're not even using any money. They're bringing other dudes in, right? $1 million deals, but using their cash to buy these tickets, and they're not paying them back. So those people are taking them to court saying they're getting burnt. It's like, after a while, when the only person who ends up always looking good and making out is the guy who's doing all the borrowing and not paying anybody back, shit starts to stick after a while.
Well, listen, let me screw up another saying here. As they say, we've often heard it before. What's good for the goose is good for the duck. I just a little play on words there because I fucked up the hot knife through butter thing. I don't know why I fucked that up. But hey, by the way, Gypsy in the chat says, "Filthy Casual knows what's up." All right, if I knew that if two guys were ever gonna get along, it's Gypsy and Filthy Casual because they love themselves some Fury. So, hey, man. Hey, Gypsy, maybe you can drive him around the South Central LA to that place that you told us about with the walls there with the satanic imagery. But, hey, man, yeah, listen, we'll see what happens. Like I said, that Fury fight, Fury Usyk, I think it's going to happen. Maybe I'm hoping it happens more than anything. But
it's a lot of money involved. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, yes, each probably will. Also, another bad news here from the Nefarium. Apparently, Ioka versus Estrada might be a no-go. Estrada, and that these are rumors. I don't know if they're how true they are, but apparently Estrada is asking for more motherfucking money, as they like to say in the streets. He's unhappy with the fact that he would be receiving less money for the Ioka fight than he did for the rubber match against Chocolatito. So probably won't happen this year. But the silver lining is that Ioka might still fight somebody. And I don't know, they were saying that there was speculation that maybe Ioka would fight Chocolatito. But I for some reason, I don't see that one happening, but that's what it was there. And Sonny Edwards versus Bam Rodriguez happening at 112, 112 pounds, will not be for the Ring Magazine belt. That's because Bam was campaigning at 115 and moved back down to 112. And there he's only in the number 4 position. And usually for the Ring Magazine title to be at stake, it has to be between the number 1 ranked and number 2, or in some cases number 1 and number 3. But since it's number 1 versus 4, it won't happen. And so Sonny Edwards was kicking up a storm, kicking up a fuzz on the internet. I'm surprised he didn't make it racial, because he's a white Brit, but he's almost, I don't know, for some reason he's always talking about Afro-Anglos and their plight and civil rights issues and blah, blah, blah. So surprised he didn't say, as a black man, I feel that this is an injustice. But look, I think whatever people say, and I don't know if you guys agree with this, but even if it's number 1 versus 4, I think we can all agree that the winner cements themselves as the de facto number 1. Obviously not Ring Magazine champion, because that's a technicality, but I don't think there's any doubt that they would be the number 1 guy. I mean, I know we got... what's his name again? The guy in that division, Mexican. My brain's in a fog right now. What's his name? Martinez. Julio Cesar Martinez. I know he's the number 1 ranked guy there, but I think we all know Julio Cesar Martinez is flawed, and that Sonny Edwards versus Bam Rodriguez that's really the fight to make in this division. So technicalities aside, Ring Magazine title or not, I mean, I don't really care. It's still the best fighting the best in that division. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Anything else you guys want to bring up before we move on? Wrap it up here.
Did you say Sonny Edwards was an Afro? Isn't he white?
That's what I said, but he's always bringing up.
Okay, he doesn't want to be. Okay, all right, I hear you.
I mean,
don't get fucking jumpy. I'll fucking. You looking?
Isn't Lee Wood? Isn't Lee Wood black?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Well, he's got. I mean, come on. Wait a minute. Are you trying to? Well, he's got the Zoomer hair. That's the Zoomer haircut. The when they have the curly hair. But he's a fucking 30. Yeah. He's 35 years old. So I don't know if that counts as a Zoomer. But anyway,
the haircut looks like a fucking 1980s new wave band.
I think that's where it comes from. I think that's where sort of like a retro thing going on. But I gotta tell you, the 90s have to come back, because in 2010 we had the 80s Renaissance. Well, that was in the late 2000s too, and 2010s. Now we're due for the fucking 90s Renaissance.
90s was the last great decade. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
No doubt. No doubt, son.
There certainly was something magical about the 90s, that's for sure.
Word of mother.
People seemed livelier back then. And then entering the 2010s, something seemed to change.
My word was Bond.
Okay, would you
90s.
fucking stop with
all the fucking communist college teachers started getting their tenure.
Maybe that's what it was.
Seriously, flipped universities upside down, and that's what happened.
Yeah,
Dude,
I
I
think
was
that's
a
gonna be it.
communist when I was in the 90s. I'm not even gonna lie. I was a communist.
Yeah, didn't you have the
we'll go outside and ride our BMX bikes, BD. Now everybody's inside.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
People were out at least playing hacky sack. I know people used to make fun of that.
Couldn't drive by a baseball park, right? Every family on the weekends it'd be jammed. Kids running around everywhere. The ice cream truck. You go by now and it's a fucking ghost town. Disgusting.
Yeah, everybody on their phone.
You know what I remember being different, in the 90s? Halloween, bro. I remember going out and getting like a pillowcase full of candy, coming back to the house, grabbing another pillowcase, filling that shit up with candy. I don't even see little kids outside. I don't see little kids looking outside for candy no more at all.
I used to buy dozens of eggs and just like bomb people.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, so I'm saying, no one's doing that shit.
No, I never saw, but you're right, dude, man. Back, we say it every year. Every time I'm like driving home at night, decide to get dark, I'm like, oh shit, it's Halloween, you gotta watch out. Back in the day, man, you flew home before it got dark because the streets would be crawling with motherfuckers. Not anymore. There's no more community. That's why. That doesn't happen only unless you have tight communities.
Hey, by the way,
that's
the phone,
for the second.
having a phone changed everything, man. Like, you know, you could watch Halloween parties on a fucking phone.
Yeah, that's true too, man. Now, I got to say the one last thing before we go. They brought up on ESPN, because I'm keeping count now, motherfuckers. They mentioned the dog. I think it was about Murataya, and they said, we all know Murataya. He's got that dog. No, excuse me. It was about Shakur Stevenson, how he changed up his game, and they said he's showing people that he's got that dog. So now the dog, again, one more win for Mr. BD.
I'm a dog.
Yeah, they had to bring up the dog. So it's the new thing now. Hopefully they put an end to it, because I'm getting tired of this, man. Just say the guy's got resolve. He's got panache. He's got tenacity. He's got heart. But I mean,
when I hear dog, start growling right away.
When I hear somebody use that, it tells me they don't know how to describe a fucking fighter.
Ah, come on.
They don't know how to describe they don't know how to describe his attributes. Oh, he's got a dog in him. Yeah, I got that dog. Fuck out of here.
No, BDA, I have a dog, right? And every time you say dog, he gets crazy.
I mean, listen. It is what it's the new thing to say, and it's probably gonna end one of these days.
Hey, Mr. BDA.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna end one day. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so you fight a fucking box at fucking cars. What the fuck you talking about? Explain what he does. Why does he have a dog? What's the dog all about?
Well, I tell you what, Jimmy, I'll take that over. He's got more speed, more athleticism. That was the other one for a while. That instead of the dog, now it's the dog.
I'll take dog.
Oh, actually, now it's also he moves different. He's just built different. He just moves different. He's a different breed.
No, he's built like everybody else I've seen him.
Exactly.
That's what somebody comes in. No, he's built like everybody else.
He moves different. There's levels to this.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah.
What about this one? Recognize. He's nice.
He's nice.
He's nice with it.
Mr. BD, Mr. BD loves that almost as much as people chewing on the fucking live. Eating on the live.
You don't know the half of it, man. I hate it. But anyway, listen. One thing I do love is this show. You guys always bring the heat. So shout out to you guys for jumping in here. Shout out to Never Sobers, Recognize, Jimmy, Gonzalo. I don't know who else. Did somebody else fall out? No, okay, yeah, you guys were there. Everybody that donated the super chat, everybody that called in, you guys are the best as well. Never stop calling in, even if we disagree on subjects. Hey, it's a boxing show. We're supposed to disagree. What the fuck? Let's get it done. I just realized I swore, so I gotta make penance for that.
Shame on
you. Be that as it may.
10 self-lashings.
Yeah, self-lashings. That's 17, brother, with knots.
All right.
Now listen, we do have to go. But shout out to you fellas. We'll try to be back this week. There's not much going on, so maybe we'll come back with another gimmick show that way we did last week. And then we come back to talk about Shakur Stevenson versus Edwin de los Santos, and of course Navarrete versus Conceição on the undercard. And then that's on a Thursday, by the way, and boxing picks back up, man. Let me tell you, we're going to have some fantastic cards. Maybe no mega fights, but certainly things that are going to be interesting for everybody, every boxing fan out there. After that, we got, that's Saturday, by the way, November the 18th, we'll have Diego Pacheco coming back as well. Then we got some broads fighting. But then on the 25th, we got Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade. Yeah, that fight shouldn't be a pay-per-view, but it's a heck of a fight. On paper, it's interesting. After that, we got Ryan Garcia taking on Oscar Duarte. That's going to be an interesting one as well. Robeisy Ramirez, a week later, taking on Rafael Espinoza, who's a good, decent fighter. Xander Zayas on the undercard as well for that one. So it just keeps on going, man. Devin Haney, Chris Billiam Smith versus Matsius Matsurnak. That's a cruiserweight title fight right there. The return of Jake Paul on December the 15th. I know you guys are excited for that one. And then December the 16th, Jesse Bam Rodriguez versus Sonny Edwards. And then on December the 26th, Inoue versus The Palace from Tokyo, Japan. So, fellas, come on now, huh? Come on, huh?
That's for Undisputed, right, BDA?
That's for Undisputed.
Inoue and Tapales?
It's for all the marbles.
Yes, it is. For all the marbles, yep.
There you go.
Damn. He more likely he's gonna be a 2-time undisputed champion, right?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be pretty incredible. I mean, that's this dude. He's fighting the best all the time. He just goes up in weight, takes on the best. Man, imagine if the whole sport was made up of guys like him.
Dude, we might have 3 active, we might have 3 active, undisputed, 2 different division champions all at once.
Yep.
We might. Yeah. I'm not saying sure, but we might.
I'm trying to get away a little bit from that. The whole, undisputed, the 4-weight.
No, I know. Title. Yeah, because it's kind of like.
I'll give him his props because he wants them. I mean, no, fucking anyway, he's proud of it. He wants to be. He loves them belts. How can you not? Dude, when he's standing there, he's fucking. It looks like he could break through 2 foot of ice. He's carrying so many belts and hardware and shit and trophies.
People are starting to realize now, by the way, what we've been saying for years, that these sanctioning bodies have got to go. Because, you can have all the belts you want. It looks good and it looks, wow, look at all the belts. But you got to pay for that shit too. And then they'll try to screw you.
There's no alternative, though, unfortunately. I hate him too. Fucking, Suleiman's a criminal, but unfortunately, they make the fights. There's something to fight for. If they weren't belts, what would drag these guys together?
You know what they could do? They could say, fuck those belts. I know Barrera did that in the early 2000s. Because he'd been screwed.
He was already a name.
Not really. I mean, HBO had always, but he lost against what's his name? Junior Jones, and it was only after he started beating, almost beat Barrera in the first, Morales. And even then, he was still a featherweight. He wasn't a superstar. So what I'm saying is, there are guys out there that are famous enough on the level of Barrera who could say, you know what, fuck the belts, just like he did, and just put on the marquee world champion. Which casual is going to know the difference? They don't know that already. They're already confused. Yeah. So I'm thinking, and again, I understand that there's a difference between what I'm saying and the real world. In the real world, it's almost like saying, well, if everybody became a conscientious objector and didn't go to war, we'd have no wars. Unfortunately, I realize that's, it's difficult.
The world's made up by evil, shitty humans.
Right, and it's the same thing with boxing. So I understand where you're coming from, Jimmy, but what I'm saying is, in theory, in a faraway world where everything would be perfect, if these guys were said, fuck them, we'll just put world champ in the marquee and people will see the ring belt and they don't know the difference, the casuals, it can still work. It's all about having good PR people, but seldom does that work. But I'm telling you, Jimmy, these fighters, they don't like having to pay these 4 sanctioning belts. That's why a lot of them leave the belts. Who's the last guy that held on to all 4 belts? They don't, because they got to pay up the wazoo. Why would you want to pay?
Imagine being a heavyweight. Fucking imagine being a heavyweight and paying WBC every month or every time you fight, giving them a slice because you're fighting under their sanctioning thing. And for what? You never get moved up the rankings because you have to pay them every time, if you want to fight. When Wilder, motherfucker hasn't done nothing but, have a guy dive. And other than that, he lost 2 fights in a row, got knocked out twice, and he's still the number 1 ranked by WBC. Jamel Charlo hasn't fought since fucking almost Obama was president. And he's still fucking, they didn't strip him. So, why? Why pay these fucking assholes? They're not going to do their job.
And it's good to get them, but then drop them because it matters to the fighters, I think, because it's a milestone. It's a statistic that will hold up in time. You can go back and look at the record books. Okay, this guy was champion. He was undisputed, right? He had so many title defenses and so forth. These titles. But just drop them. Most fighters drop them after they get them.
Yeah, and look. The Ring Magazine belt, there's loopholes there too that could potentially prevent the best from fighting the best. So that system is faulty too. It's imperfect, and sometimes you might be unsuitable. But the point remains, it's better overall for the health of boxing, meaning us, boxing fans, for these guys to eschew the belts and just say, fuck them, I don't need them. But again, the reality is, as Steve Kim has often mentioned, that championship does hold some sway. But what I'm saying is, replace that with the Ring Magazine belt, and most of these casuals won't know the difference because they don't even know, they can't tell the difference between the IBA and the IBF already. So it could work, but nobody's really tried it yet since Barrera. Maybe Teofimo Lopez, but he still has a WBO, I think, or one of those shit belts. So whatever, man. But listen, we gotta end it here. I gotta go. My stomach's grumbling. I gotta go eat. But shout out to Jimmy, shout out to Recognize, Never Sobers, Gonzalo. Always appreciate you guys dropping by. Shout out to everybody who hit the like, everybody who subscribed. Don't forget to hit the like before you leave. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about MKVI, Parokua, Protectorate General, The Stray G Turo, Marcy D, Thane Valkyrian, Rafael Garza in the house as well. Shout out to him. Hold on, let me see to the list here. Quentin Latiser, I Am Your Leader, The Scene Festival, Eparokua, Sergeant. If I forgot anybody, Saved by Grace 3, Dark Hate Dog. If I forgot anybody, it's because we gotta go. Shout out to you fellas. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy.
I'm disappointed in everyone. Disappointed in everyone. All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in everyone.
Let me tell you why. It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He's just killed a little fucking man.